Y'all are listening to the Jack of All podcast. Everybody make some noise. Podcast, yeah. All right, everybody. Jack of All podcast, pod number 8. Liam goes to Scandinavia. So my buddy Liam came over a few weeks back and we had a real nice time. We grilled out, had some venison tenderloins and some grilled sweet potato wedges, and had a real nice time just sitting and talking for almost 3 hours or so about his trip that he took at the beginning of the summer to Scandinavia. So him and a couple buddies, they did the whole backpacking thing, got together, flew out from, I think they were all out here they're all at least in the U.S. They flew out to Austria first, I believe it was. Then they went up to Denmark, went through Sweden and Norway, and spent most of their time, though, up there in Scandinavia, Denmark, Sweden, and Norway. It sounds like it was an awesome time. I really appreciate him coming over and sharing all of it with me, and I get to share it all with all of you. So if you can, check out the YouTube video. It's awesome. I put in, we talk a lot about the pictures. He showed me all this, a bunch of his pictures, and I cut all of them in on there so you can see it all real well. And it was great. If you're just listening, I hope it translates well. We didn't go over that many pictures considering the time, so we spent a lot of time talking about it, and I hope it turned out well. I haven't really listened to it yet either. I'm anxious to because, man, my memory sucks. I love doing this because now I can go back and hear it all again and remember the things that I missed. But it was really cool. He showed me some amazing pictures. All the fjords over there and everything looked just so beautiful and amazing. And enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoy me sharing these cool experiences with you, and I appreciate it because I'm having cool experiences shared with me that I didn't get to go do. But yeah, thank you. So thank you, Liam. The music I have backing the podcast today is, again, Labels Like Mines. So thank you, Ryan, Eric, and Owen. I chose it because me and Liam were talking, and we were just talking about how we've been busy, and Liam is studying physics, and he's brilliant, and I've worked with him on it, and he's just such a smart guy and works so hard. And he was saying he's so busy that he hasn't seen his girlfriend in like 2 weeks. And so I've been digging this band a lot lately. It's something from back in, a band that was local back in the past. And the song says things like, the only thing I left behind was you, and now I'm filled with doubt. And, going on like a long trip and being busy and everything, it's tough walking away from the people you love and doing these other things, and sometimes you wonder if you're doing the right thing. And that's not necessarily what the song was particularly about, but it kind of connected and made sense, and I like it. So thank you guys for the music once again. Let's see, anything else? That cupcake was delicious. Did you guys see that cupcake? It was like I think it was maybe a raspberry velvet or something. Oh man, so good. My friend's wife bakes cakes for a living, and oh my gosh, are they good. And he'll bring in like extras and stuff sometimes, and man, I might be a little gay for his cupcakes. I'm not sure that came out right. Anyways, what else? Oh, pro tip. Been crying in public a lot lately, but don't feel like talking to people about it. Just carry a contact lens case, and you can always say, I just had to put my contacts in, or I just had to take my contacts out. You know how it is. Pro tip. All right, you can find everything that I am doing at jackofallpodcast.com. Please subscribe to my YouTube. Go to jackofallpodcast.com if you want to get in touch with me. You can email me there. I think there's a link at the bottom of all of the pages. Let me know if you're having problems downloading the show or anything, or what you think of it. I'd like to get some feedback on this. And thanks again to Ryan, Eric, and Owen of Labels Like Mines. Man, can we get like a Labels Like Mines, Farewell Aurora, get back together thing? I'd love to see what you guys would do now. That's it. Enjoy the podcast. Thank you, everyone. All right, I unfortunately have to cut back in one more time real quick here. As I was editing up the audio, I found some weird glitches in the audio. I don't know if my sample rate was too high and the latency just kind of could not handle it of the computers I'm using. I've got a couple crummy older laptops that can barely handle the software I'm using. But anyways, I am going to do my best to salvage it and save what I can with the backup camera audio it mostly worked. It also had a few glitches, but we'll do what we can with it. And it doesn't really affect too much. There's just some brief dropouts and things like that. And hopefully it doesn't bug you guys too much. All right, thank you. Enjoy. Thank you.
I grew to acquire a taste actually while I was over there.
Coffee?
Yeah, buddy of mine, John, is a coffee connoisseur.
Oh, yeah?
So prior to that, I didn't really drink it. I was stuck on tea.
Yeah.
And while we were over there, we just non-stop would continue talking about it. We went to every coffee shop we saw. He's actually down in Bloomington, so he's working there. Oh my god. I grew to acquire a taste, I must admit.
Yeah, I love coffee. I don't know when I started drinking it, but it was a long time ago. What did I do with my beer, though? I had a beer. Had is the key words. You're good on those. There it is. Yeah, I started drinking it probably back when... Oh, let me start this. This is my fail-safe.
I'll just pick up audio.
Yeah, these are actually condenser mics. so it's not as good a quality, but if I have an audio dropout or something, I'll at least have some kind of back,
right.
Backup.
It's not
kind
all
of thing.
lost, yeah.
No, exactly. So, yeah, I started drinking coffee a long time ago, man. I mean, we used to hang out, there was a coffee shop downtown called Beatniks in Marion, and we'd go down there, like, you could be underage in there, and they had, like, a little bar area and stuff, but they do open mic nights and all that shit, so we'd be, 15, 16, people would start getting licenses, and we'd be down there drinking coffee and smoking cigarettes and things like that,
I've got you. Was this downtown Indy?
No, Marion.
Marion? Where is it?
Yeah, it's halfway between Fort Wayne and Indy.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Hence
it's
Marion
kind of a little
County,
town.
yeah.
No, that's Indy's in Marion County, isn't it?
That's confusing.
I think. I know. Yeah. No, Marion's in Grant County. So, yeah, Grant is probably in Marion County though.
Huh.
I'm fucking kidding.
It would be though, wouldn't it? Although
right.
I swear there is always what is it? The town in The Simpsons. The name is evading me right now. Springfield. There is a Springfield in every state.
Right? Is there
Every
actually
state,
legit?
yeah. I
Nice.
guarantee it. Every state
I'll buy
I've looked
it.
at, there's a Springfield, Ohio. There's a Springfield, Tennessee.
Right.
Doesn't matter where you are, there is a
Yeah.
Springfield in that state.
Yeah.
The only one I'd be questioning is Hawaii.
Hawaii.
I feel like that wouldn't really fit in.
Yeah, maybe not. What about Puerto Rico too?
Yeah, I suppose if you're looking at the U.S. territories, then
Yeah.
Guam probably doesn't fit
Guam.
the mold.
I'm gonna assume not. No. Yeah. Hell yeah. All right. Well, cool. Let's kick this off. We'll get this thing going properly. So, hi, Liam.
Hello, Joe. How's it going?
Good, man. Good. So, over the summer, you went on vacation. We're mostly going to talk about that. But, I don't know. Do you want to do like a little backstory or anything? Kind of who are you, just to maybe frame it all a little bit? Because so we're here in Indiana. That's where we met. But
Sure, yeah.
and that's where you're on vacation from, obviously, this summer. You're out here going to school and all those kind of things. But you're not originally from here. You're from England originally, right? So
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, when'd you come over here then? All that kind of stuff. Whatever you want to give up.
Yeah, so by now I've had quite a bit of practice with this
Right,
background
I'm sure.
story, yeah.
Everybody's interested in the British guy.
Initially, I was born in England, lived there 13 years,
Cool.
and moved over in 2010. So, been here for 7 years now. It's 2017 as the time we're recording this.
Yeah. You're so young.
Yeah, just 20 years old.
2010, jeez.
My God.
Yeah. 13 though, so old enough to become a teenager and then hopped on over. So you at least you understood it pretty fucking well then. You
I knew what
England
was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, the plan initially was, at the time, my stepdad was actually working in the Netherlands.
Okay.
So it was myself, my older brother, my younger brother, and my mum back home in England.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a little rough on her. She had a full-time job, of course, 3 kids, different ages, all went to different schools. So
That's super busy. Did you guys have
Right.
like a nanny and all that stuff, or
no,
no? It's just she
No.
made it happen. That's so much
commendable,
work.
effort by my mum.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
over the period of about 2 years or so, it was kind of weighing on her. So
Yeah.
we spoke to my stepdad. He approached his company, Interactive Intelligence, and kind of posed the situation. And they are actually headquartered in Indiana, in
Cool.
Indianapolis,
Huh.
of all places.
Yeah.
And the dots started connecting her, and they offered to move us out. So
Hmm.
they obviously valued him enough as an employee to relocate his whole family.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
That's why we came to Indiana.
Cool. Cool. That's odd. I don't typically, see a company being in Indiana and then running out of like the Netherlands or something.
Right,
Seems
yeah.
like we're all a little more autonomous. And
Well, you got Don Brown to thank for that.
Yeah. I don't. The guy.
Yeah, I don't know so much
Yeah.
about him, but Interactive CEO.
Cool. Cool. Yeah. Nice. Cool. So, do you like it here? Do you like it there better? What's
There's I've had that question quite a lot.
Yeah.
I'd say there are definitely perks and there are some cons about each. So
cool?
one thing that has always fascinated me about Indiana is the weather. Of
Yeah,
all things,
yeah.
it's the weather that has just intrigued me the most. There is such a diversity. Like in one day, you can have all 4 seasons. The weather is so temperamental; you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It gets worse in other places too, man.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. We were out in Colorado. You'd really get it then. You get 70 degrees in shorts, and by the end of the day, you'd be in snow.
Wow.
But yeah, Indiana can be a little rough too. But
Yeah, I imagine being on the mountain front, right? That's where the Rockies start.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yep.
I'm sure they have some
yeah, that was
interesting
out
weather
there.
over there too.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. I think Indiana and all the places in the U.S. is kind of boring. I mean, there's a lot of industry here. I mean, that's
Right.
why you guys ended up here too. Is there's a lot of industry and business and stuff happens out of Indiana. So it drives me nuts. You look at a map and like Indiana is just it's kind of a grid. You know, there's so many roads and stuff and
A lot of highways, crossroads of America.
Yeah, there's national parks, national parks and such, but
Right.
it's nothing like out west. There's big chunks of green on the map out west. Out here,
Definitely.
no, it's everything's business. Everything's accounted for and gridded up and farmed and this and that. But
Exactly.
yeah. I think that living over there and like being you were only there till 13, maybe this isn't, didn't grow as much on you. But I think so much cool how much more history there is over there. I mean, we have kind of a clear stop point with us coming to America and wiping
Right.
out the Indians and stuff. It's kind of a whole new setup, but England and the whole of Europe has a much deeper
Right.
history. So
Thousands of years of history.
Yeah,
Just building
yeah.
on each other. And the thing is with Europe especially, the history is so interconnected.
Right.
Despite
yeah.
like you look at France, you look at Germany, there are clear differences. They speak different languages, their cultures are
Yeah.
known for different things, like the French for wine and cheese, the Germans for automaking, for
Yeah,
being
it's
punctual
industry
on
and-
time, right?
yeah.
Like the stereotypes we kind of think of for those countries, but
Yeah.
we're gonna
whatever.
the thing is those countries are about the size of states.
I know,
In
right?
the United States.
Yeah.
So it is mind-boggling. That was the thing that I think really got me the most. The difference between
Yeah.
Europe and the United States is the scale.
Yeah. Yeah.
Over here, it seems as though everything is built kind of on the scale of the car, so to speak. You were mentioning it's a much newer country. We don't have much history here yet.
Yeah. Yep.
So we didn't have the kind of city progression. The
Right.
cities didn't organically grow, so to speak. So
Yep.
I feel like the scale in Europe is more suited for people,
Yeah.
so you can walk
yeah,
to the
absolutely.
shops.
Yep.
Whereas over here, your pedestrian is pretty much a car. You need
Yeah.
a car to get places.
Yeah, yeah. Every road's big enough for 'em. I mean, I've been in. I was in Salzburg, for example. This one strikes me the most of all the places I was in, and it was just like kind of brick streets, and there was no driving cars through much of Salzburg.
Yeah.
I mean, it just was not built for that at all. So, I mean, sure, a horse and a cart, but you weren't getting a car down these cobblestone or brick streets, But yeah, that's a lot different. We lack so much of the architecture and the big cathedrals and all
Sure.
that cool stuff. So, yeah, was that so? Going on vacation, then was that what you were trying to get into, or chasing some of that? Because I mean, could have gone out here. What are you doing? You going back on us?
Not so much. Honestly, it was it was thrown together in a very short span of time. Myself, I've always been interested in traveling.
Yeah.
Within the
yeah.
United States and within Europe. I have the desire as well to go elsewhere in the world, although I don't think that's as feasible at this moment in time.
Right.
So, myself, I had the desire to travel. I have a good buddy of mine called Max. So, since I moved to the United States, I've pretty much known this guy. So, we're going on 7 years now. And
From down in Indy.
yeah,
Cool.
he's from down there too. And he has always been interested in traveling. He also took a gap year. We both took gap years after we graduated
Oh,
high
cool.
school.
Yeah.
So,
Probably a good call.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he did some traveling there, and he kind of got the travel bug. And we both kind of brainstormed back and forth, like, all right, when we're going to travel, when we're going to travel, when we're going to go somewhere else. Yeah, like, actually put a trip together. We've known each other 7 years. We've been talking about it 7 years. When we're actually going to put it together and just get on the plane and go.
Oh yeah.
So that leads us to my other buddy called John.
Okay.
He's a very much on-the-go type of guy. I love him for it. He just goes with the flow. He enjoys living life as it comes. It's myself, Max, John. All it took was for us three to meet in a coffee shop, and we'd book the tickets within 2 weeks.
Nice. Oh yeah. Yeah. So what's the itinerary then, or what'd you guys do? Where'd you go?
So yeah, that took a little more effort. This is where I come in. So Max and John, I must give credit to them. They put a lot of effort into thinking of the places we could go.
Uh-huh.
So the idea was always Scandinavia. Each of us had wanted to travel there.
I'm already looking up at this map, going, all right,
Where
are
this
we?
is where I'm from. It's actually not too far. So
You from the UK, you start going
yeah,
up.
Northern Europe. So we have Europe here, just kind of zooming out a little bit.
It really is getting high up there, and
Yeah, it gets cold.
yeah, nice.
So Scandinavia is kind of this chunk here. So the most northern countries in Europe.
So Sweden, Norway, Finland.
And I think you can probably consider Denmark as part of Scandinavia too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it is like kind of a peninsula off the top of Germany, huh?
Yeah.
Almost a little broke off.
So what we ended up doing was just kind of putting together this itinerary. It, of course, included Denmark, Sweden, Norway. Those were the big hits right there. We wanted to travel to each of these countries. We also initially included Finland, but we started looking into the details more so, and it just didn't seem as feasible with the amount of time that we had planned.
Yeah, it's getting you're covering a lot of ground to get all the way up to Finland.
Yeah, definitely. There was a lot to cover. When it came to the actual trip, we were on the move almost 3 days, no more than 3 days spent in any one location, with the exception of one place in Norway called Flem.
Okay.
F-L-A with a circle on top. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Flem.
Flem.
Okay.
I was actually sick when we got there as well, so it was quite fitting. Yeah.
Like Rob, full of phlegm. Thank you. Yeah.
So we ended up cutting Finland from the itinerary, but my God, there was still so much to see in each of these three countries.
So where'd you start at? What was the jump off point?
Funnily enough, we didn't actually start in any of the countries I just mentioned. So we kind of capitalized here on two things. One, cheap tickets.
Yeah.
Two, layovers.
Cool.
So
what,
being
avoiding
young,
them or
we wanted to embrace them, yeah.
fucking cheap tickets, right?
Cheap tickets for starters. So the longer the layover, chances are the cheaper your ticket.
Yeah, for sure.
On top of that, let's see. So we had quite long layovers. We actually planned this about 12 hours in Austria, and then I think we had about half a day in. We have Switzerland here too. It's a little further in. So for our layover, we actually flew into Austria. We landed in Vienna airport, so that is the capital of Austria.
I've been there, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It is a beautiful city. Part of the reason we planned for the layovers was just because we wanted to see more of mainland Europe.
Yeah.
So another trip that myself, Max, and potentially John as well, we have planned is actually just seeing more of the Central European countries, because there is a lot to see there. I've been to Germany myself, but there is so much more to see.
It's so you just
to a small part.
Pick your city, pick one of the larger, very old cities. Like we did Munich, Salzburg, Vienna, and man, it was there's so much. Each spot you could just stay in for a week.
Fantastic. It really is. Germany was especially beautiful. People there very friendly. Food was delicious.
Right.
Absolutely fantastic.
What was the food like? What'd you get?
Germany, well, when I went to Germany, that was back in 2010, so that was actually the summer before I moved to the United States.
Right
so
on.
I went with some of my old schoolmates back
Cool.
back from England, and they would just do these really nice breakfasts.
Yeah.
They would have
Yeah.
it was all simple stuff. It would just be your orange juice. You'd have your coffee.
Yeah, but they have a kind of a hearty breakfast.
Yeah, it'd be freshly baked little loaves of bread. They'd
Uh-huh.
slice them in half. You got your cheese. You got your whatever meat you'd have with it.
Say a sausage of some sort
Yeah,
or something.
sometimes like a Nutella spread. It was
Yeah.
it was a very pleasant breakfast. So
Yeah. Heck yeah.
took that with me from Germany.
Yeah, it's so beautiful out there too.
Yeah, there was when we went down, we stayed actually in Köln, so Cologne
Cool.
in English.
There we go.
I forget the name of the river, but one of these rivers surrounding Köln. I think we were going south. It was absolutely stunning. I'd never seen anything quite like it. There were just castles littered to either side of
Nice.
me. We'd just go down like
Yeah.
another 200 feet, and there'd be another castle.
Yeah.
One to your left, one to your right.
How crazy is it to see that too? Like,
I mean, I was used to seeing castles, but this was something else. I'd never seen
Yeah.
so many in one spot.
see, I'm not used to seeing
Yeah.
castles. That's so weird in the first place. Like when we were in Germany, you'd be driving and then it was like there's a castle on the side of
Right.
this mountain right over across this valley, and it's so out of place. Like me and probably everybody else here in the States is used to seeing that in like pictures,
Right.
Disney movies.
Yep.
Like, and
You
it's
go to Florida, you
Yeah,
get your
right.
Neuschwanstein remake.
yeah. Yeah, out there it's legit. I mean, like you were saying though, like you're driving down and they're like there, and there.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. Yeah.
Germany is something else. I would
Right.
would love to get back there at some point, but for this trip, as I mentioned, we flew into Austria, into Vienna. It was a beautiful city. We weren't there long, but we took the metro from the airport. They've got very good transportation. You're in the airport. They have tunnels that link to it, and they take you right into the heart of the city.
Nice.
And it's
Oh,
it's
so
all
you
quite
got to
cheap
go into
too.
the city actually. I was
Yeah.
gonna say because I didn't think the airport was by too much. I remember being there and it was like
I
hotels.
remember
and
that was one of
business.
my main concerns with Zurich, actually. On the way back out, we
Uh-huh.
flew out of Zurich.
Okay.
So, Zurich City, so the actual capital itself, isn't too what I was close to the airport from what I was looking at on a map. But, again, they just have such excellent transportation that it was all linked up through the airport. You could get right into the heart of the city and just walk your way out.
Heck yeah. Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. We could use that out here.
The only problem I've seen in the United States, it's such
Oh,
a
yeah,
vast
it's hu-
country.
Oh
There's
yeah,
so
it's
much
huge.
space.
It's huge. Yeah.
Like, it's enough of a hassle and such a large project to maintain the roads as they
Yes.
are.
Yep.
Like putting in a public infrastructure network that is able to move people around that don't have cars,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother beast.
Yep. Yep. Well, in the cities, they've had a lot bigger. I
Yeah,
mean, they've
definitely.
had a lot more time than us, to have our cities grow, and it's happening
Right.
really quick here. But I don't know. Back to the whole, size of it thing, and I get, hung up for this one, but but man, I almost wonder sometimes if the States is not too big for one nation. I mean,
Right.
it is quite a beast, and there's people on one side and then people different opinion than people on the
Exactly.
other side.
There is
so
such diversity here.
yeah, it is big, but heck yeah.
Yeah, it is definitely an interesting country in that regard.
Yep. Yeah, then again, though, you get into Europe, and the whole backstory is a lot of fighting over
Right.
resources, and it's like we haven't quite done that yet.
Over this
so-
river, over that hill, yeah.
yeah, the minerals in that mountain there. Those
Exactly.
are mine. Yeah, this is
tiny
my
stretch of
kingdom.
land.
Yeah. But where'd you guys go then? What are you doing?
All
I'm
right, so
confused.
we've not actually made it to Scandinavia yet. We
No.
just stopped by Vienna just to take a look, really. So Vienna was actually our layover to Copenhagen. Now, for this trip, I kind of like to think of Copenhagen as our kind of main base of operations. It's the city I feel I got to know best because we returned to it.
Okay.
We spent a couple of days there initially, just kind of getting our bearings, getting our sleep schedule fixed up,
Yeah.
just kind of figuring out what's what, adjusting to just the culture shock. really.
How'd you get to Copenhagen?
Flew from Vienna.
Okay, just flew out.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
So, Copenhagen is, if we zoom in here, it's pretty much all just one large island.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's kind of centered on that channel there.
And then the majority of the city itself is on this kind of Jutland portion of it here.
Yeah.
We spent most of our time within the city itself. We didn't really venture out or off. There was so much to see within the city that, one, we didn't have the time. It probably would have taken... we had a budget to consider as well.
Yeah.
So we tried to save where we could, hence the layover.
Right.
So we flew in. A little further in here is where we stayed. I think Copenhagen City Hostel was the name of it. Near this National Museum.
Can you flip that thing to satellite?
Sure. That might give us a better idea here. Yeah. Drastically different view.
Yeah, for sure. City now.
So up here
So-
we actually have a fort. We ventured off to
Cool. Yeah, it's got like the star points and everything.
some really
So-
interesting buildings and architecture.
I was gonna say, what's the architecture and everything like? I mean, is there an era that it's kind of specific to, or that most of the city is built up in?
I couldn't say. With most European cities, they've kind of been built up and built on top of
Right.
over time.
Right.
So I know with London, I can speak a little more about. You could walk down a street in London and look to your left, look to your right, and buildings will be different ages. You'll
Right,
see one that's
hundreds
been
of
put
years
up,
apart.
right? One that's been put up within the past 10,
Yeah.
20 years, and another that is potentially 100 years old, even older.
Yeah, I mean, it is still a working, living city, so
Yeah.
yeah.
It-
As a
it's
tourist,
very
though, I guess I'd
different
probably get
from,
hung up on the cool
very
shit.
different from the cities in Scandinavia, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's London's quite expansive. It's a very large city. It's quite sprawled out,
Yeah.
but there's still a lot there.
Is there much for like skyscrapers and stuff, or?
There is in the city of London. There's London, and then there's a smaller portion inside the city of London.
Right.
So that's kind of your financial heart of London.
Right.
That's where your banking industry is.
All just business district, though.
Pretty much. It's dead on the weekends. There's nobody there.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
even have their own mayor. They have a separate mayor.
Like we're the mayor of Inner London.
Yep.
Nice.
Something that was cool actually when we first flew out. Just coming to these pictures here.
Yeah,
So
where's
this
that flying out of?
this actually is Nova Scotia. So we flew out of O'Hare, so we're in Chicago,
huh.
and we just as we were coming to Nova Scotia, so kind of the easternmost portion of Canada, we had this beautiful sunset. It was just slowly creeping up on us, gradually rolling in, and my God, I'd never seen anything quite like
Really?
it. Like, you can see absolutely beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is that taking off over a bay or a lake or?
This is actually the Atlantic Ocean.
That's the Atlantic?
So
Cool.
that is I think the edge most.
Bye bye, America.
Yeah,
We're off.
see ya.
Nice.
As we were flying towards Ireland, usually there are stops in Dublin, but of course we're heading to mainland Europe, so we didn't quite go that direction.
Right.
We were kind of angled a little more south, but as we were kind of in that ballpark, like across the Atlantic, the night was over, and we'd seen the sun rise again. It was absolutely fantastic. There is no way you could possibly do that unless you're traveling incredibly fast.
Right.
To see the sun set and then see the sun rise
Took
within
off
the
here,
span of a
yeah.
few hours. Yeah,
It's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty wild. Heading the opposite direction of what it's going.
very strange, and I'm glad I
Yeah.
had the window seat.
Right. That's cool. How long of a flight was it? I think it was only like 8 some hours. We went to Frankfurt.
Yeah, you can usually get flights to Europe. 8 hours typically,
Yeah.
maybe a little longer,
Heck yeah.
give or take, depending on where you're going.
Shave 4 hours. Your day to go.
Exactly.
Cool.
All right, so
What's this hot mess?
this here is my buddy John, and as you can see, he is tucking into one hearty burger. This place was actually one. I like to consider myself a bit of a burger connoisseur,
Oh, yeah?
so to speak. I love tucking into a good chunk of meat in between buns with some lettuce, whatever you want to stick in there, blue cheese, I'll eat it.
Nice.
I love a good burger.
Have them around the world. Burgers
I'll eat
around
them
the world.
anywhere, yeah. United States, though, there are no country on earth, I'm convinced, can make a better
We
burger.
got the best burgers. Yes. Yes.
Per capita, you guys make the best burgers.
Awesome.
So by the time we got into Copenhagen, this place actually called the Bronx. You can kind of see the beginning, a couple of letters there. The Bronx, so of course named after New York,
Yeah.
was right next to the hostel we stayed at. So we're like, all right, it's called the
Perfect.
Bronx. They sell burgers, a little taste of home. We're not homesick yet,
Yeah.
but let's give it a go. It's been a long flight. We may as well tuck into a nice
It gets
hearty
juicy and
meal.
filling.
Yeah. And he got it all over his face.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like a hearty burger, and he is wearing it.
My God, I was wearing mine too, but you can't see that.
So where's this?
Again, so this is Copenhagen still. This is the following day. We were actually exploring the city a little bit, so we recovered from jet lag, woke up, and we woke up kind of late, so it was probably 1 or 2 in the afternoon. We started venturing out.
Nice.
This, I can't remember the name of the place, but just behind it is, I believe, a palace. I think it was some monarch of Denmark. It might have been the king. I can't remember exactly, but
Is it more? That's amazing.
it was much.
Amazing looking.
It was much more impressive. This actually was his kind of little getaway, his
Oh.
summer house, so to speak. Yeah,
It's like the guest house.
yeah,
It's
and
the
he had
spare.
beautiful gardens.
What's that? Just, what's that? A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8
He's got a
story
tower in his
tall
house.
tower.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So this was connected to public park. One thing nice is
Hey.
public park. One thing I will say
Nice.
about the cities in Northern Europe, they have some fantastic parks.
Nice.
They
That's
really
awesome.
do.
Yeah, that's a part of that. Just like part of that.
You can just go in, sit down, eat your lunch, go in or meet up with friends, whatever you want. Just
Yeah, those
walk
gardens
around.
are amazing,
just
too. Yeah.
enjoy the garden. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that is one thing they do over there that we have not figured out or done over here is like the amazing gardens. They've got them everywhere over there.
Right.
It seems like a Europe thing that we really should do because they're freaking awesome.
I would argue though that you guys have much better national parks. So,
Yeah, well,
nature's garden.
Oh God,
yeah.
I hope we keep them too. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, awesome. I need to get out some of the bigger ones of those, but kind of a different thing. Start fixing up our cities like this, though.
It'll
What
take
is-
some time, but yeah, with a bit of money behind it, I think you'll be able to
Yeah,
make
like you
some real
said,
nice.
time probably all in time. What is this craziness? It's that fake looking hill.
Yeah, this fake-looking hill right here is fake for a reason. This is that fort we saw earlier, actually.
Nice.
So this,
the star points.
yeah, this star on the map. Actually, we'll probably get a good idea of where I was standing just about here.
Awesome.
So I believe at one point, if my history is correct, the British actually sieged Denmark.
Really?
Yeah, I think this fort was quite a pivotal kind of strategic location.
Yeah, it kind of like guards that.
Yeah, it does.
Kind of like Riverway or.
You
port
have
there.
kind of the inner city here if you come through this channel. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was well
Nice.
placed.
Heck yeah, that's so badass. It's like kind of moat all the way around it. That's part of the river.
Yeah, these days when we actually went there, people were just using it to jog. So
Yeah, that's so awesome. Yeah.
over here we have a nice little church. Just
Yeah, that's so beautiful.
the thing that I had living here for 7 years, because of course I've been living here for 7 years. So the thing I had to get used to again was the scale. It was compact.
Yeah.
It was just different.
Everything together, but
Right.
yeah.
Such close vicinity.
Yeah, but it's all built and big and out of stone and
Right.
lasting.
It's meant to
so
last,
cool.
yeah. So this is actually from the courtyard here. So where that next photo was taken is this little fence in between there.
Yeah.
So we're actually looking back
Just
at
past
the
that church there.
right.
Nice. Those people up there where you guys would have been?
Basically, yeah, that's where
Yeah.
we were looking out of. I think they're admiring the same thing we were.
Heck yeah.
Any direction you looked, and there was something visually appealing.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it was. There was something that would catch your eye.
Right. Did it get more, so did you get to go out of the city much, or did you just kind of stay in the more central area?
Copenhagen, not so much. in Norway, we kind of ventured out a little bit.
Right. Just
Um,
wondering if it kind of went from being, the pristine and like
Right.
touristy area to did it get slummy at all, or just kind of start to look like a U.S. city or any other city?
Slummy, not so much. I wouldn't call it slummy, but Christiania is very different.
Right.
It's very different
Oh yeah.
to the rest of Copenhagen. It's known as the free town of Christiania. It's this little area just over here.
Okay,
You
that's
see
that.
this kind of walled off.
Yeah,
There you go, free town of Christiania.
that's so weird.
Very interesting place. It's more wooded, a little more rough
Huh.
around the edges.
How did it come to exist? What the heck is that? Like, why is it even a thing?
I wish I knew.
Right? Yeah, I want to know now. It's
It was
so
this.
weird
It
looking.
was this anomaly.
Well, it's like obviously like a built-up thing too, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's no shortage of buildings. There's definitely a for the place, but the further out you would go, kind of this area here, the more kind of rural it felt. Of course, we're still in Copenhagen,
Yeah,
so we're still
for
in
sure.
the capital of Denmark, but
Wow,
this
it's such a
this
weird
place
looking
was
little
yeah, it
area.
was very interesting. I'd never been anywhere quite like it.
How odd. Yeah, it's like a whole little built up. It almost looks like the islands are like man-made in there,
Yeah, I think they were.
Yeah.
Probably served some of the kind of military strategic purpose, I'd imagine.
Right? Right? How weird. That's so cool. Nice.
Yeah. Some really beautiful. This was some kind of chapel or cathedral.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, how can you even identify them all? Just walk around and take the pictures and enjoy it.
Right. The atmosphere in here. I'm not particularly a religious or spiritual person, but inside a building that has been built. Something about the acoustics inside.
Yeah,
You probably
yeah.
appreciate this.
Oh,
There
yeah.
is something there. It feels different. There's
Right.
just finger on it, but put your finger on it, but there is definitely something different about a large space that has been built versus just kind of being out in nature. You've
Yeah.
got the same kind of scale to the space. This was something else. We just had to sit in there for a little while and appreciate it. Just
Yeah,
kinda
well, what
sit in
a
silence.
mood it even sets. I mean, just look at that architecture and the colors and
Right, the way the light comes in as well.
yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a bit of an overwhelming mood it would set, I'm sure, Nobody just builds things like that. I mean, to draw something or paint
Thought
like,
goes into it, yeah.
well, yeah, I mean, there's like just how many paintings is there on the ceiling and each one of those little individual panels, So, it's
Yeah, I
tons
mean
of
the
work and tons of time
craftsmanship,
and-
yeah,
yeah.
that must have went into that.
Yeah, different than just being in your little stick frame home.
Definitely.
You had stones that weigh 10 times what you do suspended in an arch above your head.
So this is just a little further down. So see where the horse is facing is actually towards that chapel,
Cool.
that kind of cathedral-looking thing.
Yeah.
This area here is kind of the big square. Imagine, like in front of Buckingham Palace, let's say in England.
Yeah.
I feel like this was the kind of political or just the heart of Copenhagen, really, the authority, the monarchy. This is really where the sense of
Right.
power came from.
Right.
It's such a vast courtyard. This picture doesn't do it justice. Just look at the size of this bloody lamppost compared to this lady here standing next to it.
Yeah, that is so out of proportion. That is rather insane that now that you point that out, I'm like, what? That thing's huge. Yeah,
So this
cool.
is this
cool.
is actually something my mum has been dying to see.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure what the name of the statue is. It evades me, but
Huh.
it's actually
How big is that?
it's life size. So she's about the size you'd expect.
It's just like I probably should like describe a little bit more of this for just audio listeners. She's like she's not it's just like a person like she's naked, right? Naked woman on a rock. Was she got like a skirt on or some shit?
I think she's a mermaid. some
Is
kind
she
of bronze statue. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, weird.
So I ended up. There's a really nice part of Copenhagen called Neuhaven. I think there are some photos later on. It's this beautiful canal. The buildings are all coloured. You've got bright oranges, yellows, blues, greens. There's boats everywhere. Just a hub of activity. There's restaurants outside. Absolutely stunning spot. Just when you're standing there, there's so much going on.
Mm-hmm.
And there was an artist there, and he was there every single day. Every time we'd walk past, he was there. He was painting, and he'd just be in his mood. He'd have his headphones on, his earbuds, and he'd just be vibing out to the music. Doesn't matter if it was overcast, like whatever he felt that day, he'd paint.
Nice.
So we saw him when we first got there, and then we revisited later in the trip, and we actually bought some paintings from this guy, some watercolor paintings.
Yeah.
One of them, the one that I bought for my mum, actually was of this statue. I'll get you with that actually, because this guy is incredibly talented. The colors, they just pop. There is something about them. There's like the colors in the sky reflecting off the water behind the statue, and
Right.
absolutely stunning. I thought.
Huh. Yeah, it's pretty cool the way that rock and everything, you know?
Yeah. Speaking of Neuhaven, this is where the artist actually was set up, just kind of next to this boat here. He'd just be out there every day.
Nice. Ah, it's so cool. And yeah, the buildings are so cool. Like all the kind of block buildings. They do look kind of, I mean, does that look like England to you? It looks like I've seen these buildings in Mary Poppins, you know?
What this, my cousin actually, what she reminded me of is this old English television show for children called Balamory.
Okay.
So each person in Balamory had their own kind of colour, like the Reverend had some black sweater, like the school teacher had some red or green sweater, and they lived in a house or building, just some building that matched the colour of whatever they were wearing, and that's exactly what this made me think of when we got there.
For sure. They're color-coded houses.
Yeah, slightly better view, but
all
yeah,
sitting
you
on
got
this
your
channel. Oh, those cool, crazy old boats. Touristy boats and stuff too, but
yeah, there were droves of tourists, but
sure.
I mean, it's definitely understandable given the
just look at the scenery.
state of the place. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
Very bustling city. Again, just absolutely stunning architecture.
Yeah.
Not quite sure what this building was used for. Looks maybe like it was something more official, but
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks like some kind of Capitol building.
right.
Yeah, it's very big.
Something, yeah, maybe a little more governmental.
Oh, what is this?
So those that was our first stop in Copenhagen. So that was in the span of maybe 2 days.
Cool.
Mind you.
Cool.
And
Just kind of blast around the city real quick.
let's take a look at the map here, because we did a kind of strange loop. So as we flew into Copenhagen, we eventually made our way up into Sweden. We had to go through border control, so we showed our passports, etc. There was a very pleasant Swedish man, spoke about 4 different languages to various people on the bus. I was impressed.
Right?
And we drove up along this western edge of Sweden here. We ended up in Oslo. We didn't stay there long. It was just a stopping point so we could grab our train to Bergen.
You guys covered a lot of ground real quick. How is the scenery?
Did.
How is the scenery? What's it, what was like, elevations and things like that? How did that all change?
So kind of, I like to think of Sweden as a flat and lakey Norway.
Yeah,
kind
I
of
can
like a
see that.
Michigan.
Looks like Norway's mountain area juts
Yeah.
up.
Where the mountains kind of start is where Norway begins.
Cool.
And if you're coming from the other ways and you start at kind of plateaus and you start seeing lakes, you're in Sweden.
That's Sweden. Huh.
So we didn't get much of a good look of this kind of western seaboard here just because it was nighttime as
Right.
we're going up. That was one of the ways we tried to conserve on costs.
Yeah.
So we tried to buy the night buses. They were cheaper for starters,
Yeah.
and it meant we didn't have to buy a room in somewhere to sleep. So
Yeah, save a night of hotel or hostel
yeah,
or whatever.
why not?
Heck yeah.
If it was a rough night on a bus, whatever, It got us there, and we
Exactly.
didn't have to pay for accommodation.
Yeah.
So, as you can see, there's quite interesting terrain here in Norway. So what we decided to
is that a
do
ton of
was...
rivers and stuff? Those all rivers?
What these are called are fjords. So what you have is quite deep water nestled between very tall, high mountains, like landscape.
Oh, wow. Is the water all the way down at sea level, or is it rising?
I'm pretty sure it's sea level.
Wow.
And you see these icy caps. So
Yeah.
every spring when it kind of warms up a little more, you'll have all the streams and waterfalls kind of falling off the mountains, and they'll just flow right out. And then the flowers start to bloom.
I wonder what the elevations get up to there. It's got to be pretty high, right? Pretty big-ass mountains.
I'd imagine so. This first picture, actually, is...
That's one you actually took?
Yeah.
Is that black and white, or is that just what it looked like?
That's what it looked like. We initially planned to go camping here, but being an inexperienced camper and having gone through there on a train, we probably would have died.
Yeah, it looks like it. It looks
Quite
like it's the middle of winter there.
Yeah, quite a hostile-looking environment if you don't know what you're doing.
Why are all the trees black-looking? What planet were you on? Yeah, man, you denied. Don't do that.
But from a map, it all looks very pleasant. This was, I believe, this national park. So this is one of the most scenic train routes in the world, I'm convinced. We saw so much in such a short distance, but the thing is, you're winding. You've got between mountains, and you've got fjords to kind of inch your way across.
Were like bridges and stuff, or?
Not everywhere. There are occasionally, but you kind of wrap yourself around and you keep going.
You take the really long way.
Yeah. So Bergen is nestled right over here. It's on the western coast. It's actually quite close to Scotland.
Oh yeah,
just in relation to a map. So
just a little north and east.
A little stretch of sea between you and them.
You said Bergen the other day, and we've been watching Trolls a lot lately. Is this the same Bergen town, or?
Yeah, I would imagine so. Norway is
evil trolls live.
Yeah, Norway. They've got some folk troll, and trolls show up quite a bit.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of the gift shops. You'll see little trolls with hair, and
I figured it was actually connected to the lore in some way.
Yeah.
You know, that's pretty cool.
I wish I knew more about it. But my God, very, very scenic.
Look at that waterfall.
And the thing is the rails. There's not really much space.
Are you on the train right there?
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Look how close it is to the bloody water.
Riding the train down a waterfall. Yeah.
While I was taking this in, I'm also half kind of scared for my life because I'm a meter away from some very rapidly moving water here.
Yeah, you got like a waterfall cliff on the left. Like the train starts curving to the right. You know, you're feeling like, oh, geez, towards that, huh? Sure. Nice.
So it kind of mellows out a bit here. We're getting towards Bergen. You can see the weather's kind of misty, so it's quite an overcast day. Quite humid, though you couldn't feel it.
Oh, it looks pretty there. Is that Bergen?
Yeah, this is the view from the hostel we stayed at there. So this is the following morning, the following day.
Look how packed in everything is.
Yeah,
all those houses are on top of each other.
It's tight-knit.
Yeah.
A couple of days later, there was actually a party going on over here. So there were people out on the balcony. They crammed quite a few people on the balcony. I was very impressed. Yeah. Just drinking, waving at us, just having a good time.
I was going to say, you pretty much just crack one open, lean out the window, and be like, we're partying together. Yeah.
So it was quite funny, actually, because when we got there, we were quite tired still. Some sickness from probably a mixture of drinking too much, weakening my immune system.
Yeah, new places and stuff.
Yeah, new places, new viruses, and there was a guy underneath me in the first hostel just coughing his lungs out. So I'm sure that didn't help.
Yeah, that sucks. Is it a bunk beneath you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
So when we got to Bergen, I wasn't feeling too well, but I didn't let it get me down. This is a stunning place. It's the second largest city in all people away, so there's quite a few people living there.
Cool. Yeah, it looks like a beautiful coastal city. Oh, wow. Just big, cool, blocky buildings.
Yeah, kind of nestled on the fjord there.
Yeah. Fjord.
So it started actually to feel quite similar to the Mediterranean
Right?
as we
does
kind of
look that
branched
way.
out. Like, you'd expect this to be a photo of, I don't know, like Malta or
Yeah.
perhaps somewhere in Greece or Italy.
Yeah, beautiful like Bay Area with the little mountains next to it.
And you're in Norway.
Yeah. Awesome.
Right
What's
on.
the Vikings?
Oh,
Where's,
yeah.
This does not look like the Norway I expected.
Phlegm, we'll get to the Vikings. That's the next
Alright.
stop.
Nice.
There was a lovely Viking bar there, and there was quite the
Ooh.
character in that bar. I'll get to him in a little while.
Awesome.
So this is, again, a lovely park. Just a really nice space to go, hang out, just kind of be in tune with nature. But
Nice. Right on the fjord there.
yeah, right on the edge, so you could look out. There was this little viewing space, and you'd look to your left. It was one kind of inlet of the fjord, kind of branching out towards your right. It was another. So this was about as outward as it got into that little stretch of sea between Scotland and Norway.
Yeah.
Beautiful day for it.
Nice.
There was a set of swings, so if you family wanted to bring kids, there was a nice little place there. Plenty of park benches.
Yeah, beautiful. Bunch of deciduous like trees and stuff. I imagine was it kind of all like deciduous forest up there? Yeah.
For the most part,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
A lot of
cool.
trees that are accustomed to the colder climate.
Yeah,
So-
it was like pine trees and stuff too, or
There were some of those.
up
Yeah.
I'm sure get up into the mountains, it's obviously going to change, but
Now, I don't know whether to call it graffiti or art. I
Right?
suppose graffiti in its
hey, if it's
is a
done
type
well-
of art,
yeah,
right?
for sure. That's crazy looking. Was that like dude with big green face dude with rainbow like cheeks,
Smoking
and
a joint.
Smoking a joint.
Yeah.
With his
Grow-
bottom lip.
With a flower growing growing out of his head.
Yeah. That's so goofy. He's like floating in space too. That dude is high as fuck.
Yeah, he definitely looks it. Look at those eyes.
He's riding the rainbow road.
And you got a very pleasant-looking gentleman here to the side of him.
Do not trust that guy. He's definitely putting something in your drink.
That's an interesting mustache. Yeah. Where's his hand? I'm not sure what he's got behind.
Oh, don't
there.
trust him. No.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's got the roofies in it for sure.
This probably gives a better sense of looking back into Norway. So, as opposed to looking outward into the sea.
Yeah.
There was some
cool.
really nice...
They really like those
inns
little. They
and-
really like those little
Yeah,
quaint
man.
block houses with different colors.
And the nice terracotta
It's very
tiles.
cute. Oh yeah,
They love
yeah.
it. Right in the back. I've never had better cell service
Oh yeah.
in my life than in Norway.
Huh.
And you wouldn't have thought. Like my phone just recently upgraded to a Google Pixel, and
Yeah.
they've offered their own service called Google Fi.
Okay.
It works in a variety of different countries. So
Solid.
I've had much better service in foreign countries,
Then
places
here.
I don't live, than where I do.
That's messed up.
Yeah,
You'd think we'd have that market down, being it's Google. They
Right.
kind of are here.
you think so? Yeah.
Yeah,
was,
you wouldn't expect it there either, with all the the mountains and everything. You'd think that'd screw it all up,
Precisely, but I think
Right.
the elevation actually gives them a slight advantage.
right?
Because they're probably able to broadcast the largest distances. I think that's
they
a
figured
cell
out how to
tower. just
shoot
up
them down
there,
into the
yeah.
valleys, right? Too apparently. Cool. Some cool mountains.
So
sheer
from
rock
Bergen, we were
faces.
there for a couple of days. Something worth mentioning, it was quite the shock to us.
Oh yeah.
We were there for probably 2-3 days. On the second day, we weren't expecting it. We get up, and there's a big parade going on. All these Norwegians are out in their traditional kind of navy blue suits. They got
Oh heck yeah.
these short pants on, these white socks, like nice leather shoes, and they got these little red ribbons as well. All the ladies are wearing kind of beautiful dresses, kind of frilled at the end, white. We're just like, what is going on?
Yeah.
So it turns out we got there a day before their equivalent of July 4th.
Nice.
So it was their national
Heck
day.
yeah.
the following day we got there.
Yeah, perfect.
It was a fantastic surprise because we came in, it was kind of touristy, and then every single local, every single native was out.
Get some legit culture actually out of
Exactly.
it. Awesome.
Felt very out of place because almost everybody was wearing traditional clothing, but
Yeah.
it was definitely a sight to see.
That's awesome. Yeah, we've kind of not talked about the whole human element of this thus far. Like, how's how it's been still you've hosting and people you've been meeting and interacting with.
On the whole, the people in the hostels are there for the same reasons you are. They are
tourists or back.
Right. People wanting to backpack, people wanting to travel to sightsee. They're very understanding and reasonable people on the whole. So very sociable as well. Like, chances are they don't know anybody there. You don't. So you've got that in common. If you got that in common, bam, you got a friend right there.
Heck yeah.
They a couple of people got on quite well with as well. All kinds of ages as well. There was a gentleman, an elderly gentleman in the hostel we stayed at in Bergen. He was in his 60s. He was an American, like late 60s. War. He was in the Vietnam War, but he made it his mission to travel to as many countries as he could in as short a time span as he could. So in a trip of all of Europe. So we were in Scandinavia for about a month. He was in all of Europe just touring around. He'd just come from mainland Europe, so like Germany, he'd come through Denmark, kind of similar route to us, made his way to Bergen.
Yeah.
He was doing that for about half a year.
Nice.
So he'd set aside 6 months of his time just
That's
to
awesome.
go around and visit places.
Dogs. That's awesome. Did you start to feel like maybe you were more like so? People talk about being a backpacker versus being a tourist. Did you start to feel like you're part of the backpacker group, or
definitely? I was carrying my home essentially, all my clothes, all my toiletries, all the food, anything we'd need. And this is myself, my buddy Max, my buddy John. We were carrying everything we needed. So by the time we got to Flem, it was a little more rural. We could just pitch up the tents, and we were out there. We were on our own, sleeping under the stars, nestled away in this fjord.
Nice.
It was definitely an interesting experience because I'd never really done much camping prior to that. I'd maybe camped twice in my life
what a way
prior
to start.
to that, as a child. Yeah, if you're gonna do it right.
Yeah, right. Think I will go camping. How about Scandinavia? Yeah,
why not? Yeah, more scenic. Yeah. The hiking aspect as well. There's beautiful trails. There's a couple more photos. This is as we're getting more photos. This is as we're getting into Flem. So it was quite a misty day when we first got there. So
what did you guys take? Taking a bus?
We took a bus from Bergen into Flem. It was about an hour. Something that I thought was very strange, very fascinating to me. They have tunnels, a lot of tunnels,
like
connecting
through the mountains.
Through the mountains.
Yeah,
but
awesome.
The part that intrigued me was how the hell did they make them all and know where they were coming out of?
Dynamite and awesome surveying.
There was this one tunnel just before we got into Flem.
Yeah.
It was, I swear, half the actual distance from Bergen to Flem was probably this tunnel, this one tunnel.
Wow, just huge ones, huh?
It was sloping down as well.
Oh,
so
whoa.
It was something else.
Yeah.
I was like, when is this going to end?
Yeah, that's a little
How did
above
they
and
build
beyond
this?
surveying. Oh, that's neat, yeah.
It was very cool, though, to come out of it. Bam, your retinas adjusted to the darkness and you hit by all this light. Yeah. You couldn't really see the mountains because there was so much cloud cover.
Right.
So
just all smoke over the top of you looking like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is, we just got off the bus. We didn't know where we were going to stay. We had this week of, about a week we'd reserved, we'd allotted to spending here.
Cool.
We didn't book any reservations anywhere, no accommodation at hostels. There weren't really many in Flem anyway. This is much smaller scale than the other places we've been.
Yeah.
So we've gone from city to second largest city in Norway to town.
Yeah, nice.
We were interacting with some of the locals, and some of them didn't speak English, which
Yeah.
it sounds kind of like, all right, you're expecting them to speak English, but everybody did. They all know English better than I do.
Right. Yeah.
They spoke it so well.
I said the dumbest thing when I was in Germany. This guy, first day
Ich bin
there,
ein Berliner.
dude, he comes up to me and says something in German, holding this like Danish out or something, right? And I'm like, oh, I'm American. Sorry, I only speak American. I felt so dumb. And he's just like, oh, cool. Would you like the rest of this Danish? I'm like, I'm retarded. No, thank you.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling to me how the people in Copenhagen, Norway, Sweden, they all
Everybody
spoke
speaks
three, four languages.
Yeah, we're pathetic about that here in
Yeah.
the U.S. It's really bad. So,
We're fortunate we speak English.
yeah, no kidding, right? Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Oh, we'd have to be smart otherwise. We'd have to learn something else.
That's the thing, right? And for that, you need a good education system.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a whole nother subject, but...
So going back to this photo here, this is actually the school in Flem.
Huh, was it across the bridge?
Yeah, there was a little bridge, nice little bridge going to it.
Is it crossing a fjord or something, or... I don't know if I'm going to get used to saying that word.
Yeah, fjord. It's strange. F-J-O-R-D. It's an interesting one. They've got a lot of Y sound in.
Fjord. Yeah, cool.
So it's the water is coming from up in the mountains.
Yeah.
During the time we were there, there's a lot more water rushing past just because it's warmed up a little more. We were there during May, so it's probably early May at this point.
Yeah.
So it's just warming up.
And like kind of the last of the mountain thaw coming down.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
So we were just kind of carrying our homes on our backs, looking for a place to hitch up. Being quite unsuccessful. One of the bridges that we came to was actually under construction.
Oh, yeah?
So we had to walk about twice the distance so we could actually get around the little river connecting to the fjord. Because we'd spotted somewhere quite early on. But the bridge that would have linked us there was just torn down.
Nice, perfect.
Nobody was working there. Like, everything was, all the tools left out, but...
Yeah. That does not look like a school at all, by the way.
It doesn't.
No, it looks like a house.
Had a nice little playground just to the side of it.
Nice.
So this is actually looking out. If you cross the bridge, kind of look to your right. This is where we came from, this stretch on the right. So we're walking towards where this photo was taken.
Yeah.
So we could get back around on the other side.
These mountains are so cool. That's what I remember in Europe, too, is this kind of... You get like these flat valleys where it looks like everything is sedimented down into a nice flat, plain. But then with these awesome, like, kind of sheer rocks sticking up out. Yeah, it's neat. For that.
So we found somewhere to stay. This is on the other side here. We came to... This is one of the most defining moments of the trip in my mind.
Oh, yeah?
As we were walking, it was getting quite late. It was getting dark. We were like, all right, we need to find somewhere, pitch up the tents, just get some sleep because we're tired. We've been walking pretty much all day. We came to this very steep hill, about 45-degree angle incline.
Okay.
And mind you, we've got all our big-ass backpacks on.
Yeah, everything you have.
Yeah, pretty much everything all on us. We're like, all right, there's a fence at the top. It looks like it kind of plateaus a bit. There's some trees, like some big rocks. So it's kind of out of the way, out of sight. We're in someone else's town. We had asked prior if we could set up in certain spots, and pretty much everybody had told us no.
Yeah.
So we were like, as long as we're out of sight, we're out of mind, we're not leaving.
Because you're kind of getting into people's property, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
Norway actually has something called a right to roam. So as long as you're outside of a certain distance, it's quite a small distance, like under 100 feet, of somebody's personal property, you're able to camp there to spend the night.
That's weird.
It's a small country, so it's...
Right.
I imagine it's useful to a lot of people, especially us. I mean, we had... not that we were going to be stopped by some law enforcement for camping, but... There was definitely that peace of mind, that assurance that regardless, we weren't kind of out of bounds.
Right, right. You guys were at least trying to play by the rules and
Right.
following what's there. It's like, was it not all kind of like people's property though? Like, I mean, I guess the size of these mountains are just kind of sides of mountains. Again, back to living out here in Indiana, everything is somebody's out here. Everything's gridded
Yeah.
up and segmented out and been surveyed and is somebody's. So you're
This tiny
trespassing,
spot we actually pitched up on, I don't think was, but we did have to go through that 45-degree hill.
Right.
It looked as though it was, somebody's property, but we tried not to linger too long. We
Yeah.
made our way up as quickly as we could, so we're coming to the top of this thing. Just as we get there, we hear jingle, jingle, jingle. We're like, all right, what's that?
What?
We keep going. We're at the top of the hill now. On the other side of it, it's another 45 degrees, but it's a drop.
Mhm.
And there is this horde of sheep running directly
jeez.
towards us. There was must have been at least 40 of them. And I kind of looked down and I realized, crap, we're in a sheep's field. There's sheep patties everywhere, the little shits
Right,
everywhere. Like, we
right.
should have pieced it together, but we were tired.
clearly
we were
where they are,
exhausted.
though.
So we were close to this fence that you see here.
Uh-huh.
And we're like, oh, crap. At first, we thought they were goats. It wasn't until afterwards we actually pieced together that they were sheep. So we thought we'd be rammed by them. They'd come, like, run at us and start charging us.
Right.
So we just quickly take the bags off. We throw them over the fence. We try and scale that as quick as we can. Turn around, and there is just 40 sheep stopped dead in their tracks looking at us. Just, what is that? As though they'd never seen such a thing in their life.
Were you scared?
At first, yeah, I won't
A
lie.
horde of sheep staring you down.
We didn't know
They're
if
so
they
cute and
were.
fluffy, but what do they want?
We weren't sure if they were able to get around, but I mean, with the
Right.
fence there, I think we were safe. So we
For
pitched up
sure.
the tents. It was a beautiful night. I don't think I slept better in my life.
Nice.
Actually, it was very pleasant, nice, cool evening, and we
Oh,
woke
yeah.
up to this. Just
Yeah, beautiful.
fantastic day. The colours just popped. It was.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it. There is nothing I could compare that to.
Yeah, be there. The perfect year to be there. Everything's blooming and flowering and
So green and yeah.
heck yeah. Yeah, they are really green mountains too, huh? Like there is like, but aside from that, there's rock exposed, but aside from that, there's a lot of green.
Right.
Nice. That's so beautiful.
Yeah, and I feel like words just do not do it justice. Like, just being in a place like that is something
yeah,
else.
Look at that awesome valley. Yeah, cool.
So the following day, a beautiful day, we could actually see more of what was around us, because prior to that it was covered in clouds and fog.
Right.
We were welcomed with these daunting mountains, absolutely vast, like the height of skyscrapers in New York.
Heck yeah.
There were these waterfalls. Anywhere you looked, there was a waterfall.
Yeah, there's like nothing else too. It's just big open mountains. It's awesome.
This is my buddy John standing on a massive rock of moss.
Yeah,
So,
everything's covered in moss too.
Yeah, I'm sure nobody has probably ever stood on that rock.
Right?
Besides him.
Last person was a Viking.
Yeah, probably. I would not be surprised.
Heck yeah.
Everything there seemed, even the nature, just old and untouched.
Yeah.
Like for that amount of moss to cover the rock, it
Right?
has to have been left there for a long time.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Why? Because it's like literally everything. It might as well just be the grass, but it's all on top of rocks.
Right.
It's awesome.
You could sleep on that. It was very comfortable.
Right? Nice.
Looking back out, very stunning.
Oh, wow.
So this
That's
is actually, you see this kind of rocky brick pier.
Is it a
thing
lake?
looking?
Actually, out is it a lake actually, or is that running?
That is the fjord.
Wow.
So the mountains and the water, I think that's what makes up the fjord. We initially planned to go kayaking,
Right?
but it turns out we needed some kind of kayaking license.
Right. Yeah. Is that water moving, or is
It's quite still.
yeah lake?
It's
it looks
flowing.
like it's like a lake, but
Yeah, beautiful water, very cold. I would not recommend swimming
Right.
in it unless you're from Norway.
total badass.
Yeah.
Iceman.
Even in the summer, that is water that has probably been
Oh,
ice
yeah.
in the past 24
Yeah,
hours.
it just came down the mountain.
Yeah, so the temperature's still...
Yeah, how beautiful. Oh, man, kayaking would be wonderful up there.
Yeah, that was the goal. We were so amped, so excited. This would have been my first time kayaking as well.
Yeah,
So to go
yeah.
kayaking in a fjord for the first time, I think would have
Right.
been something incredible. But we got there the following morning and we spoke to the guide, the kayaking guide, and he was basically like, yeah, you kind of need this license. We do offer them, but it's a 4-hour kind of course, and it costed a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we're trying to budget as best we could. So we're like, all right, it would be cool, but we can do this in Iceland, maybe on some other trip.
Yep.
So
Yeah, you did, basically a day getting the license and then be like,
Right.
all right, now we can go kayaking. It's we got to move on, So, heck yeah. Nice. Dog's just right dog here. His dog's just right outside the window. You barking.
Kaya. Enough.
Rotten mutts. What they're all excited about. Cool. Just hanging out over a little town.
yeah, so this is the town of Flem. You get a slightly better look of
Yeah.
that rural feel. They're very much a part of their surroundings.
Right?
Doesn't feel so much like Copenhagen, where you can't really tell what was there before.
How much of the town is that?
There is not a whole lot of it.
I was gonna say, it doesn't look
expands
like hardly
quite a lot to
anything.
the left. Yeah.
Cool. Nice. They're kind of sitting up in a valley then?
We were, yeah. Right here, we actually went up to one of the trails, and there was sheep everywhere. These are some ballsy sheep.
Are they just... Yeah, it's...
They are
I
right
just
by
now
that
I'm seeing
waterfall.
that. Yeah. I did not even see them before. They just are roaming free like wild, or
Yeah.
are those actually people's sheep?
I think they had tags on them. So
Round them up eventually. We'll
somebody's
probably round them up
sheep, but-
eventually.
yeah, they were perfectly happy up there, just
Heck yeah.
chilling on the moss. I'm sure it's very comfortable for them.
Right? Oh, they look like they're just totally happy hanging out natural sheep. That's awesome.
That gives you
Wow.
a better perspective.
That's still nothing. Small town,
yeah.
though. That's...
It's not very big. It's very stretched out. So the more there's not much land, kind of that plateaus between
Yeah,
the
they
valley
stretch
here.
through the valley, though.
Right. So it's very long, but it's not. It doesn't sprawl like the towns that
Yeah.
I think we're both familiar with.
Yeah, nice. Big old... Was that a natural river running through the middle of it? Part of
Yeah.
the fjord? Cool.
That's where the
Very
water
cool.
would come down. They just kind of built up the town around it.
Yeah.
So to the left here, actually, there is this very large waterfall. You couldn't stand where I'm standing here for too long because it was just pure mist.
Oh, right.
After
Just get
the
soaked.
right, for you just stand there for a minute or two and you'd be drenched, soaking
Yeah.
wet.
Nice. There's so much water in this place. Like, everywhere's based around water.
Yeah,
It's no wonder again, I keep
Rowing
saying
off and-
Vikings, Yeah, Vikings and their ships and stuff. Like, well, everybody had water. You could get into,
yeah.
like, all these places in.
Suck them off to
water.
England, attack
Yeah.
monasteries.
Yeah. Well, it's just so cool being able to, like, I don't know, we kind of have that here where we're on the Great Lakes. We could get to to the Atlantic from here.
Right.
But that it's like a lot of people don't have here. And it's like a lot of places here seem like they're built around having that. It's
Precisely,
really cool.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
with-
beautiful. What a
with
way to live.
Places as old as these as well. I mean, that was the life source probably for
Oh, I'm sure
most of these
fishing and
towns.
everything. Yeah. Oh, you'd have to have a boat living up there.
Right.
That'd be so freaking beautiful.
Yeah, that'd just be the way of life. So,
Yeah.
the locals were very friendly. I'll get to the guy in the bar. There was a very interesting bar or pub, whatever you want to call it. I'm not quite sure what the Norwegians would refer to it as.
Viking
'cause
bar. Yeah.
it didn't look like
No.
anything I'd ever seen.
No.
It looked like a boat, like multiple boats.
It's a
that had just
Viking bar.
Yeah. It was fascinating building, very stunning. It was made out of wood. You go in, and immediately in front of you there was this kind of circular pit. It would drop off, there'd be stairs, and there'd be benches all around this fire pit.
Nice.
This massive stove, this fire pit. And we were in there quite a bit because we were kind of bumming it, slubbing it, because, of course, we were camping. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
needed to charge devices every now and then so we could
Yeah.
book transportation, accommodation to the next thing. And some of the time we were in there was this tall Viking. You asked where the Vikings went.
Yeah.
This guy was a spitting image. He's a direct descendant. I've got no doubt in my mind that his ancestors probably pillaged England. This guy had the very tall, probably just blonde hair, the blue eyes,
Nice.
very distinct features. Just he fits the mold, like what you'd
Yeah.
expect, and booming voice. But he was quite the showman.
Yeah.
So he'd do these little tours. He'd essentially walk people around a little bit, then he'd sit them all down, and he would have these little platters, and they'd have 3 or 4 of the in-house drinks.
Cool.
He'd give a story about each.
Well, yeah, like what? Viking drinks.
Yeah,
That's so awesome.
I wouldn't do him justice.
Yeah, right. Is
Go
it-
there, visit this guy.
Is he saying this all in English and
Hear it
stuff
from
though?
him.
So
Yeah, he did speak some Norwegian.
yeah.
So for the guest, it was more of a touristy type thing. I'm
Right,
sure the locals,
right.
they probably knew of other
Right.
spots, but
Right.
this was in, actually looking back at this, over here, occasionally, there would be these massive bloody cruise ships, just
Oh yeah, in the
absolutely
fjord.
huge, like a quarter of the height of these mountains.
That's so crazy.
And you'd get an influx of tourists for like 3 or 4 hours at
That's
a time.
so lame.
So yeah, so towards the end of the week, we started thinking of ourselves as more campers and less
That's what I'm
tourists.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
So we started getting a little aggravated. We're like, all right, these people are just here. They're taking photos. They're not really taking it in, and they don't leave the town.
Yeah.
This little waterfront area. This is actually a hill. So behind this hill, there's
Oh, okay.
a little more built up,
I see. Yeah.
and they wouldn't leave that area.
Yeah. Just kind of hang out by the. I guess you could maybe call it the bay.
Yeah, they'd nothing to take the photos. Nothing wrong with that, but
Well, they're
It's-
there for a few hours, and that's
yeah,
that's
and
what
they
they're
go.
doing,
That's
you
their
know?
trip. Yeah,
Yep.
different type
exactly.
of traveling.
Yeah, but it's so much cooler to actually get to go and experience it. That was the problem when
wake
I
up
went.
to
It
it.
was like 10 days, went through 5 cities, and it was a day or 2 in each. You
Yeah.
just could not. You're with a group of people. Yeah, you can't
Perception.
people, and yeah, you can't actually see what's going on there or get a feel for meeting a local at the bar and
Right.
actually talking to them. But
Yeah, very, very different ways of living. So
Oh,
even
yeah.
within that span of time, like the locals who live there, this is their livelihood. Probably the tourists contribute a lot. I'm sure to the local economy.
Yeah, I wonder how they do industry and everything there. I mean, they've got good access to water, so they've got some actual potential, but you still have to. You'd end up building a town around an industry in a place
Right.
like this, and that'd be all there is. So
Here, actually, you can see the road we came in on by bus. So
Yeah.
that is the tunnel I was referring to earlier.
it just disappears into the mountain.
Yeah. And
Wow.
I have no clue how they connected the two sides. I'm sure
Yeah.
they probably had a lot of practice.
Sure, I'm sure there's. I'm sure there's some kind of crazy surveying technique, but good lord, I can't imagine how that works.
Right. I'd love to know. I may look into that more so at some point.
Yeah, probably some badass mountain men who do it and climb to the top of those mountains and
Yeah,
shoot
they got some
lasers
strange
across 'em.
intuition maybe, you never know.
Who knows, man? Nice. Slugs.
There's no escaping the slugs. You go out camping and we don't have the mosquitoes and the cicadas over in Europe.
Right.
We've got much smaller mosquitoes and they're not out all the time.
Well, sounds better.
Yeah, it's definitely Indiana. I'll say there's diversity with bugs. There's a lot of
Right.
them. They're very loud, and
Yeah.
if you just out walking, chances are at least 3 of them will fly and hit you in the face.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, they're good at that. Yeah, the mosquitoes can really suck here too.
At least the slugs in Scandinavia didn't have wings.
Scandinavian slugs.
This boy was quite big. Like we'd seen quite a few of them. There were black slugs and then these grey ones.
Yeah.
And this boy made his way to, I think that's our tent actually. That's either a tent or the sleeping bag. I think it's the sleeping bag.
Nice.
He was just chilling on there. I don't know what he was doing.
Did he
but
go on the adventure with
having a
you?
good time. Yeah, we took him places. He saw some sights as well. Could have been our tour guide.
He was like, "You guys aren't going to Salzburg, are you?" No, good.
Not yet. I'm not sure they would have let him on the bus.
Okay, anyways.
All right, let's come back to this map.
Yeah,
for a
where's
second
this
here.
at? This is This is more like the classic European tight little roads.
Yeah. So we've come up from Copenhagen, we've come along the coast into Oslo. We trained to Bergen.
Hung out in Bergen for
Probably
like
show
what,
you
3
where
days.
Flem is. Yeah, Bergen we spent too long, but the time we had there was spent well. Flem
Yeah,
is
awesome.
this little town here. So
Cool.
short bus ride and
The-
the
Wow, yeah, you can see how that fjord goes all the way up to it. I could just imagine a cruise ship going up that.
yeah, there's one in the photo.
Oh yeah, crazy.
And we were camped just up
Ni-
the,
Nice.
so we had a
Real
really
nice.
nice view of the town.
Heck yeah.
So from Flem, we bussed back to Oslo.
Awesome.
From Oslo to Stockholm.
Cool. So you're on the other side now over in Sweden.
Yeah, capital. This is, I think, one of my favorite places I've ever been.
So did that take 2 days, one to Oslo and then...
We went quite early in the morning. I think it was like 6 or 7 a.m. and we got there late evening.
Cool.
So it was pretty much a day spent
Yeah.
bussing, but
Yeah, cool though.
it was worthwhile. It was very interesting seeing the difference in terrain. Like as soon as you got into Sweden, it flattened
Just
out.
flattened out,
It's
yeah.
almost as though they really did just put the border where the mountains started.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's-
kind of how when you go out west, if you're driving, you drive all the way to the Rockies from here in Indiana. It's like forever of just flat,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden it just boom, rises up, and
Out
it's a
of
whole
nowhere.
different world on the other side. So, yeah, cool.
So the streets there are beautiful.
Yeah,
You'd be walking down. That's about the size of a lane, like a lane on a highway
single
here in the
car
United
lane,
States.
yeah. God, it's so cool with like all the they have like all that ironwork stuff and everything, holding
Yeah.
up their lanterns and things like that. You know, probably a lot of it used to even be like, you know, for gas and
Right.
stuff. And
I'm sure the glass
such cool
was some of
stuff.
it was tempered while ages back. Just
oh yeah, yeah, you get that melty, bubbly glass and such. And
so with Stockholm, there's the old part. Or there's slightly more kind of up to date or newer developments. It's a little further out, so the older part is right in the heart of the city.
yeah,
This actually was quite close to an antique shop.
Awesome.
We stopped by. You couldn't get in the bloody door. There was so much shit
perfect.
piled left, right, up, down. Don't matter where you were, you couldn't budge. And Europeans are known for being quite skinny compared to their American counterparts.
Right. Yep.
And I couldn't fit in.
Like who gets it? It's a troll shop.
Yeah.
You probably get to live.
I'm
You got
sure
the-
they were hiding under all the antiques.
Yeah, I see it now. This is Trollville, and on the other side of the mountains is Bergentown, and yeah.
So we go in and say hello to the old guy there. He was very stubborn, very old and stuck in his ways. He would only accept cash, no card. He was pissed off at the world for reasons that I think were quite unreasonable, actually.
For sure.
For starters, you can't expect people to come into your shop and buy things unless they can get into your shop.
Yeah, that's a good start. Yeah.
So that's probably part one. Part two, like he didn't take card and he had no interest in kind of updating himself and
Right,
his business
right.
with the ways of the world. He was stuck in
Yeah.
the past. He did have a lot of cool
I
stuff,
was
though.
gonna
I
say,
must
probably
admit.
has the best antiques, though.
He did. He had all these wicked old World War II swords,
Nice.
bayonets.
That's
just
awesome.
Old army coats and
Yeah.
anything you can imagine, badges, brooches. He even had these old rolls of film. So
Oh yeah.
me less so much, but my two buddies I went with, Max and John, they had an old black and white film camera with them the whole time. I think it was a Pentax, and they were snapping shots of. We only brought about 3 rolls with us.
Uh-huh.
And we went in. They were very interested in this box of old film.
Yeah.
So we started unraveling it, and some of the things that people maybe 60 years ago were taking photos of just captured in this roll of film in the middle of Old Town, Stockholm, in some guy's shop, buried under 10 knives and 4 swords,
Right.
like 50 pages of stamps. It was very, very cool to look back in the past and just kind of see what these people were actually
Yeah.
savouring, because
Yeah.
they had to be selective too. They were taking photos of like their family and
Yeah, and it
places
wasn't just
they'd gone
easy
on
then.
holiday. Yeah,
It was a choice to do it.
exactly. I'm sure it
Yeah.
was probably more expensive back then than it is now.
God, I would love to go in a place like that and just be able to buy things, because
Right.
you're not even in a position to do that, you know. But
Yeah, the
I'm
budget
such a
thing
sucker
came in
for that
again.
stuff. Well, and
And there
you're
might have-
backpacking, and
Yeah,
what are
there
you
might
gonna
have
do?
been some trouble with customs, especially. Like a
Yep.
few of the things that I thought my dad in particular would like. He's always had an interest in military history and that kind of thing. He
Yeah.
was always out metal detecting.
Right.
I used to join him as a kid.
Right.
And England, there's probably no better place for it. The Romans were there. So we've
Right.
got Roman artifacts. There could be Roman coins or old swords. It could be
Oh,
anything
yeah.
you could think of.
That's so awesome. See, yeah, we need that over here. I wish we had cool stuff like that, you know.
So I saw a few things in there that I really thought, like, if I could just get this back to my
Yeah.
dad, like, he'd love it,
Heck yeah.
absolutely enjoy it. But this old guy was charging too much. We didn't have cash because I don't know, the currencies were quite interesting. They all used krona, but they all
Okay.
had their like region specific, and they were all slightly
Huh.
different conversion.
Weird. That's weird.
Right. So $1, let's say Denmark, is 11 krona.
Okay.
In Norway, it's 9 krona. Stockholm, so Sweden, you're getting 10 krona for your dollar.
But a Corona was a Corona across the board with them, or did they appear different too?
They were slightly different.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, in each place. You'd be looking at them, you don't know which one you've got. Have I got Norwegian?
Would you be in
Krona?
one place and they'd be like, "No, this ain't the. No, I need 12 of these."
I tried to avoid spending cash. I just swiped my card.
Right.
My God, by the end of the trip, I had so many charges to my
Right.
my check-ins account, I just could not keep track.
Like, let me balance this, and never mind. Fuck that.
There was so the notes, especially, very difficult to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you grew up with it, it's a much better way of dealing with currency and buying things, because there's no decimals. You've not got like something that thing is a 58. Everything is an integer value.
Huh.
So you'd be paying, I'll probably get the conversions wrong, but $200 as a note, and that will be, say, say $10.
Right.
So you got 200 krona note, you got a 500 krona note, and it's the one thing that gets tourists or people that are unfamiliar with countries every time. You don't know how much you're spending.
Right. Yep.
So I'll just swipe my card. I'm like, this seems reasonable. These are some of the most expensive places to live in the world.
Yeah.
They've got a very high standard of living, but the cost of living is high too.
I'm sure.
So
Yeah.
tried to spend sparsely. 7-Eleven saved our lives multiple times.
Right.
Shout out to them.
7-Elevens over there.
Yeah.
How weird.
They do this fantastic 20 krona deal. You'd get a nice sandwich. It'd be like a dry kind of bun. They'd lather it in butter. They'd stick a couple slices of pepper in there, like red and yellow bell pepper. They'd put some turkey and some cheese, or some ham and some cheese, and then you'd get like an apple and a drink.
There you go.
That was such a steal.
Yeah.
You're paying, I don't know, maybe $3.50, $4 tops, and
Yep.
you're sustained
The
for
whole
your
meal actually nutritious. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
They had some hot dog deals as well, like $1 hot dogs.
Right.
We probably ate too many of them. I'll come back to bite me.
You sit here and look at these pictures like this and stuff, and it's easy to forget that, like, yeah, there's 7-Elevens.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that's
it's
the
still
thing as
normal
well.
life.
You still got 7-Eleven, you still got your Starbucks. They've got
Yeah.
one over there as well, which I don't think they have in America. I've not seen them. Is Espresso House.
Nope, not seeing it.
It's basically, I think, a European Starbucks.
Yeah.
So they're kind of rivals.
Big chain though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're probably have as much market share as maybe Dunkin' Donuts does. Here.
Right.
So here is Starbucks, Dunkin'
Yeah.
Donuts, and Starbucks. Those two
Yeah.
kind of eat up most of the market. So as far as chains go, it's probably between Espresso House and Starbucks.
There you go.
So when we got to Stockholm, we of course didn't have a place to stay.
Of course. Yeah.
But my buddy John, he actually travelled there earlier. So this is last year. So we're looking at 2016, around winter time.
Uh-huh.
So he did stay in City Backpackers and Stockholm, and he met with a guy who actually lives in this little courtyard here. So he owns one of these little flats. Really nice, pleasant inside. Conservative in the space. You really don't have much room, but you've got everything you need. You've got the necessities. Space is a luxury in Europe.
Right. Yep.
But he was kind enough to set us up in his little kind of courtyard here. They'd be cordoned off into quarters, so imagine it as like a grid. So you'd have your building like a courtyard on the inside.
Okay.
That courtyard would be sectioned off.
Okay.
So we stayed in one of those little sections. We pitched up our tents. There was 2 cellars as well, so we stowed some of our stuff down there. Just made sure it was safe.
Huh.
We woke up. This was a temporary gig because we are quite literally camping in the middle of Stockholm. So
Right.
not
Yeah,
a very
it's rather odd.
a very good long-term plan. So we had a couple more days here in Stockholm, about 4 or so. So we were planned to stay in a hostel, but for this first night we stayed there. We woke up, and the buddy of John's who kindly let us stay and kind of use the facilities here,
Mm-hmm.
he comes to us. He brings out some coffee. He's like, "Morning, lads." He's actually French, but he's there studying.
Okay.
He's like, "My neighbour came asking." He's like, "Does anybody know who those people are camping?" And of course he plays dumb. I don't know. There's people out there. Apparently his neighbour was concerned about Syrian immigrants.
Oh, jeez.
So here, me, my buddy Max and John are here camping, just trying to find a place to sleep for the night. And this we wake up and he tells us that this lady thinks we're Syrian immigrants.
Nice.
So he's like, "All right, you've stayed here. We're very thankful." We're like, "Look, we appreciate it. We didn't have a place for tonight. We probably couldn't have found one in time.
Yeah, just getting
But
there late.
We should probably get out because I don't know if we're disturbing the peace within a night. This is kind of like a shared courtyard.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
we'll head on out.
Yeah, move along, you Syrians.
You Syrian refugees.
They just show up and start pitching tents in
in
courtyards.
Stockholm, yeah.
Yeah.
How would they get in? There was a code on the door and everything, so how she thought we got in, I'm not sure. Especially
Right?
with our bags and tents. It
She even had a place where you came from already. That's awesome.
makes no sense to me.
she obviously did not see you. That white redhead? Syrian, clearly.
To be fair, we probably were in the tents just kind of rustling about as we were waking up, so she had
Right.
no clue what we looked like. To assume it's the worst as people do.
I guess. Yeah, what are you doing? Are you on a boat here?
So, yeah, as I think I mentioned to you before we actually started up the podcast, Stockholm is... I never quite knew what it was like in terms of the geography of the place.
Uh-huh.
It's inset. It's on the east coast of Sweden. Zoom out a little to get a better
Yeah.
view. And as you can see, there's all
It's at
these...
the top of the Baltic Sea.
Right. There's all these little islands just littered about.
Uh-huh. Yeah, all just
got all
kind of right
these-
off the coast.
You know, all these little archipelagos. So, considering we...
Looks like it's a
we-
good way in off the coast, but it's all like there's tons of channels and waterways in, huh?
a ton of them.
Oh yeah,
You can buy ferries to any of these little islands.
nice.
So that's exactly
Oh
what
wow,
we
it
did.
really
actually.
breaks up when you zoom in there. I did not realize it was that many little islands.
Whoops. Sorry, some
Ah, you
technical
went back to
difficulties.
phlegm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. It does not look like it's that many little islands, but it is a ton of little islands.
Yeah, so after we roughed it a little that night, we decided to go out per recommendation of John's friend. He said, you need to get out and look at some of these islands. Like, if you
Yeah.
want to do some camping, because, I mean, we brought all this stuff, might as well utilize it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So we've been lugging it around. We're like, all right, let's make use of this. And apparently there's a lot of good places to see outside of Stockholm. So we did exactly that. We went to this little island called Vaxholm. So
Vaxholm?
Vaxholm.
Vaxholm. So not Vaxon, Vaxoff?
We can say Waxholm. It's about the same. So the ferries, as you can see on the map, they would come in through this blue dotted line.
Yeah.
So you'd see
Dodge
quite
all the islands.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, they got a whole little
island hop
street
kind
map
of
going
coming
through
in
the
and
water.
out. Yeah, some really neat buildings on all these as well.
Oh, those are all built up?
Yeah, little islands.
Wow, how
some of them are.
crazy.
Some of them are a little more Kind of, they were left as they were.
You have to have a boat to live in this country.
Yeah, it was at least this part of it. It was quite cool once we actually got to Vaxholm.
Yeah, how crazy.
The equivalent of liquor stores in Sweden and Norway, they call them Systembolaget.
Okay.
And there's not many of them. They close at very strange times. So you probably, unless you're a local and you know how all this works, chances are you're not going to get alcohol when you want it.
Right.
Quite the issue. So that was quite the issue for us.
You got to be in the inside circle,
Yeah,
huh?
in Norway as well as Stockholm here in Sweden. So one of the first things we did, of course, was paid a trip to the liquor store. We got some nice boxes of wine to see us through our time here on Vaxholm, just so we could have a pleasant evening. And one of the funniest things, they have this little dock here.
Uh-huh.
And I was sitting on this side, just looking after all the bags. We'd have one man designated on bag duty while the others would go and get hot dogs from 7-Eleven or some wine from the Systembolaget when it was open.
Cool.
And as I was sitting there, I was looking out, just enjoying, and this must have been taken actually later in the year because there were not many boats.
Right.
It was
Wait, there were not many boats when you were there?
when this was taken.
Oh, okay.
When we were
Oh,
there,
it
it
was
was
full?
absolutely
Yeah.
packed. There was so much going on. I was right on this little coast here, and some guy comes up with a trolley.
Yeah.
So shopping cart absolutely packed full. He's got 24 packs of this or that. He's got boxes of wine. He's got bottles of wine. He's got absolutely everything. This old guy, and he comes up to his boat. This tiny little thing, like the shopping cart, is I don't know, maybe a third of the size of this guy's boat, so it can fit him and pretty much his
Yeah, his
alcohol,
stuff.
and that's it. And he starts putting it all in. I kind of heckle him. I'm like, "Is that all for you?" He's like, "No, not quite." I'm just like, "So where you from?" He lives on the other side of the island. This is basically his means of transportation, like you said. You
Hops
need
around on a boat.
Yeah, you need
Yeah.
a boat to get around, and he was well stocked for a good night. It was interesting to see.
Nice. Yeah, cool.
So this part of the island is quite built up. There's actually a museum just here, a slightly smaller island. However, what we did was walked all the way across, and you've got this really nice patch over here, and it's actually,
Oh, cool.
there are 2 little camping facilities.
Like that whole end of the island looks like it's just trees and stuff and park.
Very pleasant. It really was.
Yeah, nice.
So we came in here and we settled all our bags down, just kind of explored our surroundings a little bit, because this is, besides Flem, with the exception of Flem, this is probably the kind of most kind of out there we were in terms of exploring our environment. Otherwise, we had our bags with
Right.
us. We were in hostels or cities, so
Right.
it was nice to just kind of be in nature, just walk around, just kind of take it all in.
For sure.
Find a nice rock to sit in and kind of look across, watch the sunset.
Island. Oh yeah, it looks like the island is populated or anything.
Yeah,
either,
they're
huh?
definitely not. The further you get out, it
Yeah, it starts to
quite
mellow
unlike
out.
America. They don't. I don't know if it's they don't utilize all the land, or they just have more of a inclination towards preserving it.
Yeah, well, a lot of it's probably not. We need like we do. You get
Right.
out west here, and it's like everything.
Can't do anything with it.
Yeah, it's mountains and stuff. It's not like you can grit it and farm it
Or
like
the
we do
Dust
here.
Bowl as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
can't farm it so much.
Yep. So, no, it's cool though. You could kind of shuffle over to that side of the island though, and
Yeah.
disconnect pretty good.
And
though,
the
you
thing
know?
is, this island as well, we'd walk it multiple times a day. So we go back and forth, maybe 4 times. So
Oh, it's small, huh?
yeah, you could walk it in
Oh yeah, look at those
45
blocks.
minutes.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So you
Yeah,
have
it's
all the
probably
locals
only
on this
15, 20
side.
20 blocks long.
Yeah, one big road coming through. This is probably way smaller than Manhattan. You probably stick
Oh yeah,
a couple
yeah,
of these in Manhattan.
for sure. Nice.
So the day we got there, we came through, avoided the desk because we didn't want to pay to be there.
Well, yeah.
Trying to limit costs. We're just a couple campers. Nobody's going to pay us any mind. We set up just over this nice little pier, little
Nice.
dock. And we just kind of waited out of it. We rested up. We stopped by a little shop on the way. Just got some food. Just kind of threw together some dinner for ourselves. Drank some wine. Very scenic part of the world.
Heck yeah. Nice.
And it's getting quite late at this point. Probably 9 or 10. It's getting dark. Mind you, this is the time of the year where it doesn't get dark for very long. So at most, you'd have 3 to 4 hours of nighttime.
That's
and even
so
then,
crazy.
you wouldn't have much darkness. You'd have it would never be pitch black.
Right. Yeah, you
have-
kind of always have that glow on the
Yeah,
horizon in the other
exactly.
direction. Yeah. How crazy. I got to wrap my head around that one for a minute. I haven't put too much thought into how that works. I have to think about it.
Something to do with the spin of
Yeah.
the Earth, I'm
Oh,
sure,
yeah,
like the
yeah.
angle of it.
Yeah.
So we still hadn't pitched up our tents yet. We were thinking of a spot to do so. We're just sitting there, and we were exploring this side, left our bags, come back to them, and there's some people bringing in canoes.
Okay.
So they must have been out doing
Yeah.
something, just enjoying themselves. There's these 2 guys, and there's a older couple as well. These 2 guys are the ones canoeing. I think the older couple was just out for a walk.
Mm-hmm.
And we all get chatting for a little bit, just kind of like, hello, what are you up to? Like, just a little bit of small talk back and forth. The 2 guys put their canoes away, they go in, and we end up having a really good conversation with the older couple.
Yeah.
So they'd lived on the island pretty much their entire lives. They're high school sweethearts, effectively, and we were like, all right, well, you're locals. The old guy was very funny.
Yeah.
My God,
It was what?
very funny.
Okay.
He had the biggest smart ass I've ever met. He had a
Nice.
funny thing to say about everything. Type of person that he's probably done everything
Right.
and he's learnt from it in
Yeah,
some way. So he's
Gathered a
always
bunch of wits.
right.
and-
He's got something to say about everything.
Yeah.
And was kind of probing him, like, well, you know your way around the island. You grew up here. Like, where's a good spot to camp, but
Yeah.
not be disruptive? And he's like, yeah, you don't want to pay for all this. Like, forget all that. Nobody's, whatever. No one's going to pay you any mind if you go up here. So nestled just up here a little bit, there is a little clearing.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think actually there is. A little further there was, I think, an old, I forget exactly what you mentioned it was. It was some kind of old accommodation. So some kind of hostel, but
Okay.
it was a much older one.
Yeah.
And it had burnt down. So
Right.
it was just a clearing where it was. He's like, oh, just go up there. Like, no one will bother you. Just set up your tents, you'll be fine. So as long as you're out of here in a week, like, no one's gonna notice. No one's gonna pay any mind. Like, you have every much as right to be here as anyone else does. And,
Heck yeah.
the funny thing was, the thing that threw me, him and his wife sounded like they were from New Zealand.
Huh. What is, I don't, like, was that more
A little
Australian
bit like
sounding, or-
Australia, yeah.
Yeah.
It just threw me, because I'm like, you're a native
Yeah.
to Sweden, you grew up here, but when you talk to me in English, you sound like
Right.
you're from New Zealand. Like,
Right.
what's up with that?
Right.
Could not piece it together. I don't know if it was like a product of his education, maybe.
Yeah.
someone-
Probably being a
someone
second
English,
native
yeah.
or a second language, and him mixing his sounds together.
I couldn't tell you, but it was very strange to hear, because I would have believed he would have been
Right.
and
Yeah.
just
Right.
if I'd
Yeah.
just met him. If he didn't tell me he was from here, I wouldn't have second guessed it.
Right. Yeah. Heck yeah.
So we pitched up there for a little while. That's where this boat took us. There's a couple of the little archipelagos. Got some nice houses. People just out sailing. It's a beautiful day. So there's that little
Nice.
the pier, the dock I was talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is just another part of the town. Very quaint.
Those look a little more like just, more,
Yeah, it's kind of
U.S. built houses and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
I think a lot of these islands, they have summer houses for people that maybe live in the city or
Yeah,
live elsewhere
yeah.
in Sweden.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. That sounds awesome.
There was a lot of cool little trails as well. Like this one, a little more overgrown than some of them, but they just take you strange places around the
Yeah.
island. You get a really good feel for it.
I wonder who made that. I mean, because they got like
Yeah, true.
steps carved into the stone and
I
everything.
didn't even
and
think
it
of
looks
that.
Really old though. So that's
And
cool.
One of these was strange as well because it brought us right back around the high school.
Yeah.
So we were like, should we be here? It's kind of a strange thing. We had to like jump over some pipes at some point, like some air
Right.
conditioning, or it was like, we're still on the path though. Like it just
Yeah,
bends
yeah.
around. They just happened to place the high school like right on the edge of the island.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Cool.
so this is what the wine was for.
Yeah. Over the water. Sunset over the water.
Yeah, there was some people there enjoying it with us. Nice patch of rocks. We actually went swimming there the day after.
Cold.
My God, it was cold. Yeah, the Baltic
Yeah.
Sea, even in summertime.
Freezing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
within
Yeah,
a minute
cool.
of wading into the water, my legs were numb.
Yeah, I think I'm good on that, man. I don't know if I want to move any further north.
I tell you, my buddy John has some big balls because he was in there for a while.
Oh yeah. Maybe he's got no balls because
Yeah,
that's
well,
the
by
first
the
thing
time he
that
came
starts
out,
to
no.
Oh shit. Nice.
Again, it just feels like that Mediterranean kind of
Yeah.
vibe to it.
Yeah, kind of rocky coastline there.
At this point, it had warmed up quite a bit. It wasn't quite as cold as Norway, which was quite interesting, I thought.
Yeah.
There's, I think Norway gets a lot more precipitation. There's a lot more moisture over there than there is in Sweden. I think the mountains trap a lot of it.
Yeah.
So you usually
yeah.
get a lot nicer weather over here, and it's a little more predictable.
Huh.
Occasionally you get light showers, but for the most part it was kind of partly
a
cloudy.
little more stable. Yeah.
So this is us coming back, just a couple more of the archipelagos.
That thing's
So,
cool.
yeah,
Look at
some
that
cool
building. That
buildings on
thing's
the way.
huge. Oh, that's cool.
I don't know what some of these were used for, but they had a lot of the newer developments, I think I mentioned earlier, were slightly further out.
Yeah, yeah.
So you could
Kinda
tell
built
that-
around the old
yeah,
city.
The city is teeming by the looks of it because
Oh yeah.
they have a lot of construction going on like, just over here.
Mm-hmm.
Here we have a park, but I mean this part is all being developed. They've got some kind of
Yeah.
natural gas
Yeah.
going on over here,
yeah.
but
Storage tanks and all that stuff.
all of this is now becoming apartments, and they've got all this really nice housing and this kind of residential area.
Cool.
So essentially the suburbs of Greater Stockholm, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, it is so like Mediterranean-like in that it's all everything on the coasts and everything, but cold.
Yeah,
No,
a little
I'm
colder.
good. I'll take Mediterranean.
I think I would too over this.
Yeah. Wow, that's pretty.
Yeah, that's us coming back into Stockholm. That's the old town, so Stockholm's old town. So
yeah.
those buildings at least 400 years old, 600.
Yeah. Yeah. Got all the, again, those old blocky buildings and then those huge steeples.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
glittering the skyline.
Yeah, that is really huge, man. That's a heck of a spire, That's so weird because there's no other purpose of that spire other than to just be
To look
big and
big,
amazing.
yeah.
Things like probably 5-6 stories alone of just spike.
I would not be surprised.
That's cool.
So I think one of the reasons this was my my favorite city, or one of the favorite places I've been to in my lifetime, is because it was unlike any other city I'd been to.
Yeah.
With all those archipelagos, they had small islands connected to each other. So
Yeah.
there'd be a bridge to this, a bridge to that, but then a smaller bridge connected to just an island with one building on it in the center of the city.
Right.
And somehow they'd have all the public infrastructure still built in, so
Yeah.
you could still get around even though there was water everywhere. But it was
cool.
very unique. I don't think there's a city quite like it.
Yeah, neat.
They had some good
Oh, this
museums
is
there
nice.
as well. This perhaps gives a better idea. I'm not sure who made this, but
Yeah, what is it all showing other than all these cool little fluffy boats?
I think there's
I
a
love the
few
way they did the
forts,
mountains on
houses.
that.
Yeah, troll land over it.
Yeah, the troll land.
Then
Oh,
all
they-
the rivers are run off.
Oh man, I really want to drive through those mountains up there because they must be like really impressive as
Yeah.
far as the peaks and everything.
My God, they are. They really are.
Yeah, so neat.
So now we're back in Copenhagen. So we're coming towards the end of the trip here. I was better by this point. I'd shaken my sickness. I was back to myself.
Yeah.
There was this stretch essentially led to where we were camping. So the last 4 days we spent in Copenhagen. There was a festival going on, a music festival called Distortion.
Cool.
So neither Max nor John had been to a music festival. They've both been to quite a lot of concerts.
Right.
And this is a European festival. It spans multiple days. So what we decided, we've got all our camping stuff. We'll buy the camping ticket and we'll get the week pass. So
Yeah. Heck yeah.
good bang for our buck. I think we spent $240 or so total. So
Yeah.
that included beer for the first 2 days.
Nice.
We managed to essentially have a place to stay for all 4 of those days. So kind of considering all those costs, put them all together,
Yeah, yeah.
couldn't have beaten it.
And have a great time.
Not to mention it was in a prime location. Up here, we kind of got these shipyards.
Uh-huh.
This is actually where we stayed.
Oh, whoa.
Just over here. It was,
Cool. So right on the water there.
yeah, this
Yeah,
is
that's like a little man-made island.
literally
thing.
the Baltic Sea.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, when we got here, we were good at that point. Pitching the tents, tearing them down. It took us 10 minutes tops.
Nice.
The
You
day
guys are
we
some
got
legit
there,
backpackers by
the
now.
day we got there was particularly windy.
Yeah.
These could have been gale force winds. It took us 2 hours
Oh,
to
geez.
pitch up the tents.
What the heck?
And these are small tents, they're like 2-man tents. And
Yeah. That's ridiculous. That doesn't make sense.
any time we'd go to do anything, it would require all 3 of us. Pin it down, nail in the peg. Just everyone had to be coordinated, and we'd still. This thing would just take off like a sail.
Right?
That was a real hassle, but I know by at this point in the trip, we'd all been with each other for a little while. It was quite a bonding experience, I'd say.
Yeah.
Me and Max didn't really know John too well. Like, it was mutual acquaintance. Like, we'd met him once or
Right.
twice, a couple of times, but I really got to know the guy on the trip. Fantastic man. I know by the end of it, we were just able to. It was almost a hive mind. Nothing had to be said. It was
You guys are all working
unspoken.
together.
Yeah.
Hi-ho.
We were a unit. Yeah.
Nice.
So what was cool about this spot, the first 2 days of the festival, so it's a 4-day festival,
Uh-huh.
the first 2 days were actually in the city. So
Huh.
I think it
But
spanned...
you keep like your tent and stuff there the whole time?
Yeah, we kept up there. There was this nice little, like a campground for... They had a major tent, basically, for the people that were running the venue.
Right.
And they had their own smaller tents kind of around it. They had a nice big fire pit, and then a small stage with just some, like a DJ set, some electronic music, just kind of running. There wasn't really anyone
Yeah.
there. I tried to Shazam some of the music because I enjoyed it, but for the
Yeah.
life of me, it doesn't exist. I swear I could not locate it. Besides us, there were plenty of people. We got there the first day, but gradually, as kind of the festival progressed, more and more people showed up.
Yeah, yeah.
So, first 2 days in the city, so we just kind of ventured out. Let's see, that's actually a picture of the tent, the campground. Kind of
Right.
the tent's over to our left here, that's John and Max posing for the picture. They had these cool hammocks set up, so you could just, in your drunken slumber, come out and pitch up on one of these hammocks and
Nice.
have a nice view of the stars.
Yeah. Is there
Comfortable
kind of like a
view of the
little
stars.
industrial area there?
Yeah, it's not very built up. It's quite rough around the edges, shipyard.
Yeah.
You have to pass through that area we mentioned earlier, Christiania.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. No, it's like right on top of it and right across from that fort.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
You just keep going and you get a real good view of Copenhagen as a whole, but you're in a different part of it.
Right.
Like you said, very industrial.
Huh. Yeah.
So there
Yeah,
wasn't much
cool.
there. One place we did find was over here, very cool. Small little coffee shop or cafe. Cannot compliment this place enough. La Bancina,
La Bancina.
which I think is Italian, but
Huh.
basically just means like a little canary, like area on the coast almost.
Okay.
So they had. It must have been a building used for fishing or something,
Yeah.
some kind of commercial purpose. And
Huh.
they left it as it was, but they'd taken everything out. They'd put in a really nice, kind of modern, sleek-looking coffee bar, like a nice long one. And they didn't do the place up. They just left it as it was. Like the paint was peeling, the floors were concrete, there were cracks, all the rest of it.
Cool.
Very charming place, and they did everything right. The food was
yeah.
fantastic. It
Yeah.
was a short walk from where we were camping. The coffee was excellent. The views were impeccable. The staff were a lot friendly. A lot of the staff in these coffee shops as well. There's people working on the side. Some of them are just students from elsewhere, so they're just supplementing like their income. And a lot of these countries actually pay you to go to school, which would be nice, but
Yeah.
a bit of extra money doesn't hurt.
Nope. Heck yeah.
We
No.
kept going to this place time and time again. Some pizza place. There's actually a photo of
Looks
the old
bomb.
Pentax there in the back.
Yeah. Crazy old camera.
These really nice thin crust pizzas.
Yeah, it looks delicious.
I must have eaten at least 8 of them in the time
Yeah.
I was there.
Nice.
Good bang for your buck, and my God, was it tasty.
So wait, no, these coffee shops. This Denmark, right?
Right now, yeah, we're in Denmark.
Okay. Isn't that where Amsterdam is? Where is
Amsterdam
that
is
at?
in
It's
the
in
Netherlands. Yeah, so you're not
That's just
far
below
off.
Denmark, huh?
Yeah, it's mainland Europe, kind of over here a little more.
I was trying so hard to. Oh, it's a bit of ways, huh? Okay. I was looking at this earlier, piecing this together, and I was like, "What? Amsterdam's right here?" I was trying to wrap my head around that. Not Holland, Netherlands, and not Holland, and
Right.
all these different names now. But
I mean,
okay,
they are
cool.
quite
Oh, it's
close.
quite a ways off, though.
You could probably fit Indiana right in.
I was just wondering because, again, back to I thought Amsterdam was there. I was like, were the cafes all smoking weed and everything too, or is it, but no? So typical like cafe like you'd have out here, right?
Right.
Yeah, cool. Well, out here in Indiana.
I think they're a little more focused over there on like the aesthetics and the quality of it. That you don't get
Yeah.
all these sugary drinks.
Good.
It's just a bare bones menu. Like you've got your coffee, you got your espresso, mocha, whatever you want. It's just the bare bones stuff and nothing fancy.
Figured out. How is it that they figured out in Europe how to just do things normally? You know, where we have to like try to synthesize everything and make everything fake and mass produced and cheap. Where it's like just accept that have to be a real thing to be
Right.
good. You know.
Yeah,
food has to be real.
Authenticity, definitely.
Yeah.
I feel like America is a country of salespeople. That always feel like I'm trying to be sold something.
Yeah.
Whether
Yeah.
it's the American dream, whether it's, I don't know, some auto parts from a company I will not name, but their
Right.
jingle is stuck in my head, and I boycott them because of it. I will never buy their auto parts.
Oh yeah.
I always
Oh,
feel like I'm
gosh, I
trying
got
to be
like
sold
6
something.
different jingles running through my head.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah, no, I hate it. It is so weird here. We could get into all the medical advertising and all the crap they
Right.
do over here for
Like,
that.
how are they allowed to sell it?
Dude, I don't know, but when I was in Germany, there was a billboard with this really hot redhead with no shirt on, and I have no idea what the billboard was selling. But
I
man,
would
was
buy
that-
it, yeah.
Yeah, that was better than like erectile dysfunction billboard.
Right.
Got ED.
Yeah,
That
it's
poster,
very,
more after looking
very
at that
different.
poster.
The advertisements, definitely. Like in England, it's almost an art form,
Yeah.
advertising, because it's not really advertising. You're not advertising your product. You're marketing it to someone.
Yeah.
It's
Yep. I hate marketing so bad.
yeah. The
You're,
thing is,
you're trying to
it's
sell
an-
them on emotions and stuff.
It's
yeah.
an art form in Europe, I feel, and America. It's very upfront. It's almost I'm shoving my product down
Oh,
their throat.
well, exactly. Yeah. Well, you saying it's an art form, like that's great. Like they,
There's
we're
more
gonna
to
try
it,
to trick
yeah.
you into it, but we're gonna do it tastefully and
Right.
with
There's,
some
there's a little
class
more
versus-
self-respect. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Heck yeah. All right, back to the music festival. Hanging out in
We'll get to
Copenhagen.
that one later. Yeah, the music festival, Distortion Music Festival, absolutely fantastic. Had a really good time. My birthday was actually on the
Nice.
third day of the festival,
Nice.
so I turned 20.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, it was June 2nd. Woo! First 2 days in the city, second 2 days, so for my birthday, were actually on this part of the shipyard.
Uh-huh.
So literally, we were maybe a 4-minute walk from the main venue, which
Cool.
was absolutely incredible. I've never been so close to something like that in my life. Just to be able to, in my drunken slumber, walk back and find my tent and be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic time.
What kind of bands were there? Anybody real big or?
So the festival was mostly E&M
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
The bigger names was Miramasu. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know most of the acts as well.
I probably won't now either.
I showed up and I enjoyed them.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's what.
I discovered a couple of artists actually. One is a local DJ. She's actually from Copenhagen. I think she just does a lot of venues about Europe, so it's easy to fly to and from. Ina Kosovic. Her set, man, it was like 1 a.m. This is the third day, so this was June 2nd, my birthday, and I was just entranced. I was just standing there, just jamming out, just vibing to what she was putting out. It was something else. I didn't know at the time who was on set because there were no lights. She'd completely just shut them all off.
Right.
Like, couldn't see a thing. So you didn't know. All you heard was the music.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's about 1 a.m., so this is the darkest it was going to get. So you can't really see anything.
Right.
But in 2 hours, it'll be like
It'll
it's
light
12
again.
p.m. Yeah.
How weird.
Once I got back, I started looking in the little hard copy of who the lineups were and just trying to figure out who was that, because what I was hearing, I was so appealing. I wanted to like go back and I don't know, just see if they've got some kind of discography I can look at and hear out some more of their
check 'em
music.
out.
Yeah, my God, was that a task?
Yeah.
It took some effort. They, I think at 12 they cut off, so they stopped displaying who was playing because it was smaller ladies.
Yeah.
And she played directly after that. So I had to get on a website, pretty much look at every single bio of who was there.
Right.
Even then,
And
it was
then
like
come
a
across
intuition, like gut feeling type of thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't feel like it's any of these. This person, unheard of. Let's go to their SoundCloud, see what they do. Even then, the set she performed was something she'd never done before.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Well,
so you're not
actually-
finding it though.
What I ended up finding, it was she has these snares, these like
Okay.
familiar drum snares. I'm like, I heard that before, like something's ringing with this, and
Yeah.
I ended up finding it, and I was like, all right, this is definitely her.
Nice.
Enjoying her
Nice.
music ever since.
Heck yeah. I really walk a line with like, EDM type music. There's like, man, there's some people who make it that it is such garbage and I just cannot even respect the way that they make it. And
There's a lot out there.
Yeah, it's really interesting how it's done too. And there's people who like will actually play music and use it to, integrate with electronic, and then those people music.
Right.
And then there's those people who just kind of like use electronics to make music, and I just something about that I can't get into. There's something about the product that comes out that I don't understand, and I wonder if she was maybe more organic. There's some of that organic feel for it.
It was something she was coming up with on the spot.
Yeah.
It was some gradual progression she built up, but never really kind of let you drop. It was interesting. I think I was part of it. It just captivated your interest, and
Nice.
it sounded good. So.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that's the thing that I get bored with electric music is sometimes
Can
it's
be
just
repetitive.
the same thing over and over. Yeah, you got to get somebody who actually knows how to move music.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think she definitely embodied that.
Awesome.
So this is pretty much coming to a close. Our trip here. So
Nice.
we
That
did
was
a
a month,
nice,
huh?
a nice little circuit. Yeah, it was just under a month. I think 27, 28 days. I can't
Heck yeah.
remember how many precisely. It was somewhere around there. Just under a month. From Denmark, we flew back out. We went to Switzerland. So we flew into Zurich.
Cool.
This is something else, man. Like Zurich is a Swiss state,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
and it's evident when you're in Zurich.
Oh, why is that? How so?
You walk down any of the streets, and it's clear the
Huh.
wealth has been maintained.
Huh.
They have some. There's something about the architecture there.
Right.
It's a different kind of order. You just feel like the mentality out there is different.
Right.
There's an appreciation for quality. You'd walk past these store windows, and the Swiss franc is stronger than the dollar. So
Right.
it's a little
So
strange when you're having
everything's
when you're having to convert. But even then, yeah, everything is absolutely outrageously
Yeah.
priced. But
Oh,
it's
yeah.
for a good reason. Everything is
Yeah.
built with such craftsmanship. The product you're looking at, they had so many watch shops. I mean,
Right. Yeah.
they are well known for their watches, and it's clear why. Like, even this little tower here, something about time, man.
Yeah.
They are infatuated with it, or
Yeah.
something about that
Nice.
society.
Yeah. Well, Swiss, you can talk about like, like a Swiss lathe. Like they kind of developed
Yeah.
a lot of industrial machinery and
Right.
stuff that's the cutting edge, They kind of lead with that, apparently.
They set a lot of the world standards as well as far as industry goes.
Right.
I know a lot of European industry, there are guidelines and kind of classifications that they essentially came up with.
Nice.
And
Set the
people
bar.
to be set over at this grade of whatever it may be, you
Wonder if
need
they
to
make a
meet these
car.
standards.
Is there a Swiss car?
I'm not entirely sure. I think
Yeah,
they're
I'm like sitting here going,
friends
I don't
to the
remember
north
one.
probably got the market on that one, the Germans.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I can't think of anything. There probably is, but it's probably something that's outside of my little price bracket.
Yeah, me
know?
too.
So,
Another thing that was cool, actually, just that throughout the whole trip, there were quite a few Teslas.
yeah, really.
Yeah, bringing it back to kind of sustainability, that kind of outlook.
Yeah. Yeah, I
feel like
remember
with-
there being lots of tiny cars over there, but that's
Yeah.
it's cool that they're embracing that. I wonder, if they're putting in all the fueling stations. I mean, obviously they have
Yeah.
to be doing it somewhat. But,
There were quite a few charging stations.
Huh.
So I think about a third of the cars in Norway. Actually, I watched a Vox video a little while back, and he basically was going over it, blah, 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 all this, all that. But a third of the cars are electric now in
Nice.
Norway. So Paul definitely set an example and demonstrating that you can still have cars and like function normally
Yeah.
and still make
Yeah.
it work.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, a lot of us
It's
over here in
feasible.
the U.S. would have to driving or
Yeah.
that's long distance driving. That's
Yeah.
a big challenge for a lot of
Right.
us. So
yeah, I mean, I think the batteries that they have at the moment top out about 300 miles
Yeah.
on a single
yeah, I know.
charge. So
Yeah, I know. I heard 250 the other day. If you're
Yeah.
not staying within 250, you're screwed.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if you got no access to a charging port, you just out in the middle of some
Yeah.
road. What are you
Yeah.
gonna do?
yeah.
So, I suppose part of that though, you just planning your trip. Just make sure you
Oh,
either go the
yeah.
route with the
Yeah.
chargers or
Yeah, that sucks though too. You got to sit there for like 30 minutes and charge your stuff up.
Yeah.
I know it's not, 30 minutes ain't bad, but that ain't 5 minutes at a gas pump. You
yeah,
know.
they're definitely not as feasible as petrol. What we have at the moment.
Nah.
Just what we have at the moment. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I really wonder too whether or not the means of producing them justifies
Right.
the product.
Yeah.
You really
Just
get into
the
splitting
environmental
hairs.
impact on them
That's-
as well.
Yeah,
just to
exactly.
produce the damn thing.
That's what I'm saying. If you look at it as the net in the end of the product life cycle,
Right.
how much damage did it do one way or the other? I
Yeah.
think it's probably still winning and at least moving in a right direction of innovation, but
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll
yeah,
see.
I feel like if we're going to be producing cars anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
may as well move to a more sustainable way of doing it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we definitely need to get better. We kind of suck at this game.
I know
you know?
that the Gigafactory, I think it's in Nevada, so in Elon Musk's project, his side project, where they build all the
One of
batteries.
his side projects.
It's
Shit.
entirely solar panel
Yeah.
powered, so
Yeah, that's awesome.
all
Yeah.
the the factory is a machine itself.
Yeah.
So everything they
Yeah.
do in there, all the batteries they're making, heavily involved, but
Yeah, that's
pull,
awesome.
pull all the labor out, or just automate the whole process, and
Right.
maybe have people testing the quality and
Yeah. Yeah.
run it all off of solar panels.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
not?
Aside from getting all the
minerals and everything to actually build the machines to do it,
Right.
you really cut
I
down
think-
a lot of waste.
I think he does have plans to build another of the gigafactories in China, which
Yeah.
I think would make sense because a lot of the cars he sells are in like Hong Kong, Shanghai,
Yeah.
where they have quite a good network, like infrastructure for the actual charging.
Yeah.
So if he builds one out there, then at least they don't have to ship them to the bloody
Yeah.
United States and then
Makes
ship them
sense.
back.
Such a weird global market now too. I mean,
Yeah, we're all interconnected now.
yeah,
It's-
fuck 7-Elevens over in
Yeah.
everywhere. Fuck.
I'd never really bought anything from a 7-Eleven till I got there.
Yeah,
So
how weird.
I
Yeah.
never considered it, and
Yeah,
pay 'em props. They saved my life.
right.
And I
Cool.
think I mentioned when we got to Zurich, it was dead. There was nobody
Yeah,
there.
Yeah. Yeah, there is nobody in that picture. How odd.
Nobody there at all. I feel, we
Like
maybe
a whole
saw
city street with nobody on it.
we maybe saw 50 people tops.
Right?
It must have been some kind of holiday or something. I don't know. Like all the Zurich gets to go on holiday for something. I don't know.
Right?
But
Yeah, that is really crazy.
I don't think it was like a weekend or like, people were just in or not about. I don't know, but it's probably got something to do with the price of it. And get the impression it's a very wealthy city.
Uh-huh.
So you're not going to be there unless you've got
But
like the McDonald's
yeah,
there.
but where's like this is so crazy looking at this picture because there's like okay, is that a cafe or a restaurant of some sort on the right? And there's all these tables and everything outside lining the
Yeah.
street. Nobody, and it's like, wait a minute, this is broad daylight, middle of the day.
Yeah.
Nobody on the street was
It's probably like 1 p.m.
Yeah, how crazy.
The McDonald's there, we stopped by for lunch because it was the only thing we could afford.
Right?
the tech they had in there, like you walk in, they've got all these touch screens, and you do all your ordering on there, like
Yeah.
your breakfast, like throw your meal together, and then you click, or tell them they have to serve in,
Yeah.
bam, they have it done in
Yeah.
10 minutes. Just they're quick. Their
Yeah.
their trains as well left on the dot, and they arrived exactly when they said they would.
Nice.
Same with Vienna T. They've got it down to a T. So
Yeah.
for a country that manufactures and produces watches, and I wouldn't expect anything less, but it's impressive nonetheless.
Yeah. Yeah, they really got their system worked out, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool.
fascinating how they do it.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's smart. I mean, even down to like the McDonald's thing, I kind of laugh about because like that's the consequence of things being expensive. You know, everybody out here with their whole $15 an hour thing. Like, there might be some places where that makes sense, but
New York or Los
dude,
Angeles.
you do that across the nation, and like most of us are just gonna, everybody's gonna just lose their jobs as they get replaced by these automated systems.
Right.
But realistically, that's what it should be, anyways. I mean, we could get into a whole discussion about universal basic income and all that kind of crap, but fuck, man, if we get machines to do all the work for us, can't we
Right,
just
let
sit back
time.
and enjoy it?
Yeah,
You
enjoy the
But,
life we have. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the powers that be may not let that happen.
Yeah,
so-
and I don't. Yeah, don't try to get too tripped up on the conspiracy stuff
Yeah.
of that anymore, because I think that it's so volatile that the powers that be, like, yeah, they control a lot, and it seems that way. But then again, you look at
they're not responsible for everything. So.
no, well, and you look at a large scale, and like power changes hands pretty quick.
Yeah,
I
it
mean, you
does.
typically work in like maybe 50-year cycles between where
Right.
big ass wars where things really dramatically shift.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I don't think the man's really trying to keep kind of alone us just as we just kind of let a system do
Right.
dumb things and we pay the consequences. But
That is one thing I admire about the United States, and I think it's one of the main reasons I've stayed here. Despite what anyone may say about the American dream, I do think that there is opportunity in this country.
yeah,
I think that it is a country of predominantly hard workers and those who do work hard with a bit of luck and kind of the right ideas at the right time. They will prosper. They will have
Yeah.
a better lot in
Yep.
life than they did before they started.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I've never been, like the whole privilege thing. Like, I'm a white guy,
Right.
so maybe I've got more
white,
privilege or whatever.
hetero, cis male.
Yeah, whatever. But like, I've never had a problem getting a job. It's never been
Sure.
like I've got, I've and restaurants and serving and this and that and retail, and it's never been good jobs, but it's
a
you
job.
bust your ass and you do the job and you eat ramen noodles
You
and
get your paycheck.
you
Yeah.
work. Yeah, and after a few years, you work your way up and get a new job, and then work your way up and get it, and
Improve your
eventually you're
place,
doing
yeah.
fine. Yeah, you know. So there's never been a lack of opportunity. Sometimes it sucks, but flip. Fuck, I don't know if you got to go flip burgers. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to a couple people earlier today, and the gist of it was, if your reason for going to university is to get a job, you might as well enter the workforce.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you enter the workforce from university, don't expect to be put into a position where you're managing people straight off the bat because you have no experience.
Yep.
You need to work your way up.
Yeah.
You're not just going to be handed something. You need to put in
Yeah.
the work. You need to demonstrate capable, able. You're capable. You can do the job. So
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I work with. I don't have a degree, and I work with a bunch of people with degrees working alongside of me, and I got there by busting my ass and working hard, and going through I made it to management in other places and whatever. Engineer. I also there with engineers who the place I work likes to kind of be a launch pad. It seems like they'll hire guys who are kind of fresh out of college, and they don't really make anything more than all of us non-degree guys do. And they suck. Like, they're terrible at their jobs, because they don't know shit. But, yeah, it's definitely not like a cakewalk. But in the long run, we also see a lot of those guys spend 2-3 years around and then leave for something better. So, the degree is definitely
that's the
good.
trade-off,
Yeah.
4 years of education for...
Yeah. Yeah, eventually it does pay off, I think. But, yeah. Yeah. How do we end up over here?
Yeah... Switzerland.
Yeah, all right, back to Switzerland.
All right, what we're looking at is a statue of Ganymede. There's Lake Zurich has the most green water I've ever seen in my life. It's clear. Green. Yeah, it's emerald green.
Oh, cool.
You can look down into it. It'd be 10 feet of water, and it's crystal clear. You can see the fish. You can see like the gravel, the pebbles in it. Some of the cleanest water I think that probably exists on the bloody planet, if I'm being honest.
But still green.
Very green, yeah.
Who's Ganymede?
Ganymede. I did look into this. I don't remember the details.
He looks fucking awesome.
Yeah. This is a Swiss interpretation of, I think, an old Greek or Roman story. So the eagle, I think, represents Zeus.
Okay.
And Ganymede... here's where I'm a little hazy. I don't remember if it was his, like a demigod, like a half sun.
Yeah.
So he's a half human, half god.
Yeah.
But he's essentially he's pleading with the eagle if he can ascend Mount Olympia.
Yeah, so there's an eagle, like, kind of, at his feet. I mean, it's big, but he's got a hand down to it, kind of like offering and one up to the sky.
Yeah.
And is all naked. Pretty fucking epic.
Why not?
Pretty fucking epic.
Why not? Yeah.
No, it's awesome.
Interesting statue.
Heck yeah.
Especially the placement of it.
I need to figure out what or who Ganymede is, though. I'd like to know that story.
Yeah, the placement of it as well, I think, is probably the most interesting part because it's right. You walk out of the city and it's right here. Let's take a look.
Is it right on the water?
So here's all the nice streets with beautiful watch shops and all the rest of it. And where was it?
Work your way down into this bay area.
Yeah, it was.
Cool.
There we are.
Oh, cool.
Here's the statue, and it's pretty much opens right up into Lake Zurich.
It's right, like, kind of at the pinnacle of that bay going up into Zurich.
So, I don't know, it was placed there, and I think it's got quite a lot of significance, but I'd like to look more so into what that significance actually is.
Yeah, for sure. Man, it's so tough. You go through this stuff so fast. Like you said, you took all these pictures because you just went through it so fast, and then you got to go back and figure out what you actually saw.
Yeah, I mean, a month, man. It went by slowly and quickly. Yeah. Looking back, it went by quickly, but while I was there, just every day is different. You don't know what's coming. It was something unexpected happened every day, sometimes more than once. And at the end of the day, you look back on it and you've learnt something.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of what it is, you've learned something. You've put yourself out there in situations. You don't know the people. You don't know the environment. You're seeing things. You're constantly taking in new information. And I think it was a very eventful trip.
Nice. Heck yeah. Well, good
Very.
on you getting out and doing the whole kind of backpacking thing, you know. A lot of
Yes.
people never have the adventure to do that.
And I think my goal's always been, if I stay in the United States, to move out west.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good hiking, a lot of good
Yeah.
trails out there,
Yeah.
scenery. So
Yeah, I love it out west. It is beautiful. Like I said, there's a lot more park and stuff you can just go
Yeah.
to.
I think if I do make my way there, I'll definitely be doing a lot more of the hiking and the camping.
Heck yeah.
So
Yep.
here's my dog, my
Woof.
lovely dog Cammy, welcoming me back. There's my bag.
Aw, how sweet. Were you a Boy Scout too?
That's my little brother's.
Ah,
Yeah.
Association with those guys, huh?
I would have, but I moved from. Yeah, I was 13.
Oh yeah, you were
so
already 13. Yeah, no.
I was
it's
on a
way
waiting list
uncool by that
actually
point.
for the Air Cadets.
Oh yeah?
If I hadn't
Yeah.
have moved to the United States, I'd probably have joined the RAF.
Huh.
So
Cool.
Always had an interest in planes and
Air Cadets.
something
huh?
about the sky, man. I love Indiana for its clouds.
Yeah,
There's something
yeah.
interesting about it, but
Yeah. I assume Air Cadets is like the out here they call Civil Air. Out
Basically,
here they
yeah.
call it Civil Air Patrol.
huh,
Yeah, they fly around and look for people
right.
growing weed or something. I don't know.
I was on the wait list for that for about a year and a half, and by the time there was a position actually open, we'd moved. So.
Right.
Sod's
Yeah.
law, but oh well. I'm
Yeah.
happy with my lot in life at the moment.
Yeah, you ever get to
see-
fly? I
see
mean,
bright things. I went out in a glider when I was, I think, for my 13th birthday
nice.
over the town I grew up in. So my dad.
Cool. That's
booked
awesome.
It was really cool. There was essentially what they do. They have a motorized plane in front of you. Some of the gliders do have a motor, so they can
Uh-huh.
just fly themselves up, and then they just kind of glide around.
Yeah.
Boost off the thermals. But this one, we were towed up
Yep.
and just kind of let loose, just 2,000 feet. That kind of perspective it's just you and the elements
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool that you got to go over the town that you grew up in too, because you kind of get to go like, oh hey,
It seems
like
so
that's
small.
what it actually is.
Yeah, it gives it
Yeah.
really gives you some more perspective.
Yeah.
So-
Heck yeah. Yeah, I love it. My dad had his pilot's license when I was growing up, and it was always so cool to get to go up and just
Yeah.
plane like that, just a little plane like that, just zip around, go
Some
wherever we
Cessna,
wanted.
yeah.
Yeah.
Always
Yeah,
an
flew a whole bunch of
infatuation
little
with that.
planes.
So hopefully, at some point, make it maybe an ambition. Maybe strive for a pilot's
You
license.
should.
We'll see.
It's expensive, but it's really not
I'm sure
that
it's worth
hard.
it.
I mean, it's it's
Just need to log hours, I'm sure.
Yep. Yeah, and it's not even 40 hours. I think it's 40 hours of like one-on-one instructor time, and then like maybe 40 hours of soloing time. I think that's right. Yeah, I mean, and that's
You do that for your bloody driver's ed in your
Yeah,
car as
yeah.
well.
I mean,
so-
it gets a little salty because like that 40 hours is all like expensive and like
yeah,
so that gets hard. But I mean, expensive shit. You start talking about a semester at college, it's not even
Right.
as much as
that puts
so.
things in perspective.
Yeah, but yeah, we mostly got out of it because it just gets expensive to fly. I mean, when gas is $50-some a gallon for airplane
Right.
fuel, yeah, it's salty.
Starts adding
You
up.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah. No man, it's awesome though, man. I really recommend doing that to anybody. You know, so I'd love to do it again someday. I want to jump out of airplanes too.
I would love to do that.
Skydiving.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Yeah.
The opportunity hasn't struck me yet, but I'm sure I'll take it when I see it.
Yeah,
So-
but out here, and maybe we still do, but I'm a little nervous to like go out here. I was talking to a buddy a few weeks back, and I work with a guy who goes up to show. Yeah, I'd be down for that. Yeah, I'd be down for that. It wasn't that much either. I was kind of like, ooh,
How much you looking at?
I think it was like maybe $100 to go up and jump.
That's
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, not bad, right? The wingsuit,
Yeah.
wingsuit,
Yeah.
flying squirrel style.
Have you seen those with the
Dude,
GoPros on them?
They're so insane.
My God.
They're insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. No, but I would wingsuit just in general. I don't know about like,
Yeah.
dude, these guys who jump off mountains and like skim between the valleys. Yeah, no, I'm good on that.
Like underneath arches, yeah, skimming the
Yeah.
trees.
Yeah.
My God.
I seen a video the other day of a guy hitting a bridge.
Ouch.
Dude, it sounds like a freaking car hit another car. Smack. Yeah.
He's going. I'm sure the speeds that he's going.
Dude, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
sure you've got some air resistance with your wingsuit, but
Oh, not much.
you got
I mean,
the force of gravity acting on you at that point.
I mean, moving at maybe like a 70-degree angle. I mean,
Right.
so he's
That's quick.
hardly not coming straight down. It's,
Yeah.
You get 20 degrees of forward versus, just straight dropping. That's not much.
I wonder how difficult it would actually be to kind of correct the angle at which you go and say if you wanted, if you skyrocket down and then you wanted to, and then kind
I'm
of decrease the angle at
sure-
which you're falling.
Like, turning's not bad, or like changing it to like almost straight ain't bad. Like, you probably just, could tuck in real quick and drop like a brick. But
Right.
yeah, I don't know, man. I think it probably happens all way too quick, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
What was it? The Felix Baumgartner, the guy who jumped for Red Bull.
Oh, I don't know.
He was like the upper end of the atmosphere, and I think it was 80,000 feet. He
Right.
was right up there, and
Yeah.
jumps off.
Yeah,
I think
had
he was
to have the whole oxygen and
I
everything.
think he was unconscious for a short amount of
Oh,
it as well.
jeez.
Yeah,
You wake up falling out of the sky.
I cannot imagine that.
Oh, wow.
That would be something else. A very surreal moment.
Yeah.
Definitely. I don't know how many people could say they've done that.
Ah, good morning. Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, this is what we're
Whoa.
doing. Fuck, all right, altimeter, we're good. Oh, jeez.
Got 2 seconds. Pull the chute.
Yeah. Nice. Heck yeah. Well,
Oh.
heck yeah, man. Thanks. Was that it then? That's the whole
Yeah,
trip,
that's,
huh?
That's all we got. There's we did so much in the trip. I could
Yeah.
not remember it all if I wanted to, but
Right?
I picked and chose some of the best moments, kind of the most visually striking as well.
Yeah, it
so
sounds awesome.
You get a sense of the place.
Think of all the people up there. Is it just people in general?
People are people. You get
Yeah.
good people. You get people that are arseholes sometimes.
Of course.
But yeah, on the whole,
Yeah.
very
it's all the
nice
same.
people.
Heck
yeah.
yeah, man. Yeah.
Unassuming. They're they I don't want to say they settle for less, but mediocrity is acceptable.
Yeah.
No, not everybody is striving to be the best,
Yeah.
and it's not a bad thing that you're not.
Right.
So people are, I feel like they're more content as a result. They don't feel like they've let themselves down necessarily.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Kind of just happy with their place in the world, you know?
yeah, I mean, working in the coffee shop,
Yeah.
it's pleasant. They go home. I'm sure just a different way of living.
Yeah, it does seem understand. I wish I could understand it more,
Yeah,
but
it's simpler in some ways. It's quite an attractive way to live, but I don't
Mm.
know, for those that are ambitious, I feel like America
Yeah.
has a lot of opportunity. So
Yeah. yeah.
get your ass over it.
Right? Hey, the tech here is fucking cool.
Yeah.
You know, with having Google and everything and all these big
I
places.
think we're lagging
pushing
behind
shit.
though now.
Yeah?
I think China's doing more
Starting to
innovation
kick
than
it
we
up?
are. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know
maybe.
I don't know if you've seen. There was a post recently. One of our professors had posted, and it was about quantum tunneling.
Oh, yeah?
So
They're doing something with that?
I don't pretend to know the ins and outs of the physics behind it, but what they've done is the Chinese had launched some satellite,
Huh.
and they had 2 locations which were quite far apart.
Yeah.
They were shooting laser beam to both, and
Okay.
they were checking, because there's quantum entanglement whenever
Yeah.
you're dealing with these particles of light. And I don't know the ins and outs of the experiment. They were able to check the entangled in different directions, I suppose. So
Uh-huh.
let's say you got one up, one down, and they were able to confirm that everything they were getting across those distances didn't matter. Instantaneous transfer of information.
Right. I wonder how
effectively.
they do that quantum entanglement. So they had one far away and then another one in another location. Then we're influencing one and observing it, influencing the other one, I think.
Right. I'm not sure if they sent one down to both, but when it was measured, I think it was measured at both locations.
Right.
They agreed in the sense they were the inverse, or
Huh. Yeah. that stuff gets
But
quite complex.
they're doing a lot with it, as far as I know. As I mentioned, one of our professors has
Yeah.
kind of been.
Well, it seems like a lot of
talking
the real
about it as
innovative
well.
physics stuff is not necessarily here. Like we
Yeah,
do
it's
really good
happening
with the
elsewhere.
tech, you know, and like
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, maybe I'm talking out of my ass a little bit, but it seems like at least in the past we've done really well with creating the tech. And see, you started saying quantum tunneling, and I was thinking that they were probably building some kind of extremely small electronics and using quantum tunneling to send the
right.
signals, you know. But yeah,
I think
who
they're
knows,
testing
man.
the limits of how it works, and
Yeah.
they're definitely. I don't know how if you start coming up with like systems that are able to transmit information like encrypted information across vast distances,
Oh well.
and if anybody's intercepted it, you're able to tell.
Yeah.
That could be very useful.
Well, that or like you know, speaking of quantum entanglement, so if you have, you know, so you have let's just imagine it like a thing. Here's the thing: it's an atom or whatever, and it's quantumly entangled to this one over here.
Sure.
And if you move it here, it creates a electrical impulse or influences an electric field in a specific way, thereby giving you a signal, right? So if it's quantumly entangled and the transfer time of the signal is now irrelevant, which I'm wondering activates you could essentially disobey the speed of light
Right.
rules in transferring
I think
a message.
that's what they're looking at, and
Yeah,
they're trying
that
to
would be
test.
something really
Yeah.
insane. That'd be
How far apart can this entanglement can it be? Can that entanglement operate outside of distances that don't agree necessarily with what the speed of light would?
Yeah, you couldn't send a signal of energy from this place to that place in the time that you're actually getting the reaction. That'd be a really useful
Mind-boggling.
thing.
Yeah, I feel like we'd have to reconsider something.
Yeah, instantaneous communication, you know, or instantaneous data transfer. I mean,
Right.
you know, you could have, you know, oh, look, I altered this hard drive, and while all the time I was altering this hard drive, exact time I was altering the same exact time altering one across the world.
Right.
That'd be fucking amazing.
Yeah, man. So I feel like there's probably a lot coming in regards to that, and I look to learning more about it.
I hope so. We need a new technology change. We kind of was you I was talking to the other day about the whole it doesn't seem like computer chips are really going anywhere in the past,
Yeah,
you know,
like Moore's
5
law, we're
some
not
years.
really keeping
Yeah.
up with it. Like we're kind of reaching
No.
limits of how small we can build.
Yeah, it seems like we've kind of started to max out this technology that we have. You know, we're gonna have
Right.
to find a whole new field or a whole new, like, you know, quantum entanglement to
Or some other
use.
way of building hardware, or like
Mhm.
utilizing the laws of nature to
Yeah,
purposes
let's
of-
start like
purposes.
optoelectronics type stuff
Right.
where it's, you know, optical type data transfer. But I don't totally talking out of my ass. We get too far into this. But
Yeah, I try to hold myself back sometimes because I don't want to say anything that I'm not qualified to
it's
say.
easy
So,
it's easy to do. But
yeah,
whatever.
try and keep yourself accountable, people.
Yeah. Don't go all conspiracy and start just
Yeah.
thinking it's all plots and shit. That's when people
Right.
get real crazy.
That's why I like maths and physics, because you've got some certainties, and as long as you speak the same language, we're able to kind of communicate within that framework.
It's a great bullshit filter.
Yeah,
There's a
definitely.
lot of like I had one of my religious, like, he's super religious guy
Yeah,
come to me talking about some crazy antimatter telescope thing that they built, and it's
just
like
throwing words around.
dude, I love this guy. He's great. He's a
Yeah.
really awesome guy. But like, I started reading this supposedly peer-reviewed article, and it was like 8 pages later. I was just like, that's not like if you sent light through I forget if it was convex, concave, whatever. If you sent light through it, it would have just kicked all the light out scope into the backflowing of the scope, and it was like it wouldn't have sent anything through. Like there's nothing. It's just. Yeah, it's a great bullshit filter. About 5 minutes later, I was like, this doesn't add up. The shit they're saying is wrong.
Yeah. Speaking of bullshit filter, I don't know what to make of this, but I saw a post shared by Fox on Facebook about potentially seeing the Northern Lights tonight in Indiana.
Is that tonight?
I think so.
I thought it was Wednesday and
night
Thursday.
of the 6th into the 7th. Was that yesterday?
That was last night, man.
Ah,
I know. You sent me
a
that, and I
day
was
late.
like, I think we missed it, bro.
damn it.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to that. Oh, well.
Yeah, that would have been cool, but was it even good last night outside?
I think it was cloudy.
Man, I was outside a lot last night, and I didn't see shit. At least,
Nothing.
nah. I mean, I was asleep something from like 3 something in the morning on, but I was
Right.
outside at like 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, from what I read, it
So-
was a possibility. It wasn't like
Yeah.
a given. It was like if the solar flare does what we think it will, like
Mhm.
according to our model, then we might.
Right.
Like, there's the
It was pretty good
possibilities,
skies last night, but shit.
It wasn't cloudy.
No. It was pretty good, but
Hmm.
no, whatever. No, I did it. Now that you say it, maybe because at one point, there was like this large band, and it looked like maybe it was just. So when it's dark, sometimes you'll be looking up and you'll see kind of like I don't remember what kind of a cloud it is, but it's just like a wispy band cloud,
Sure.
and it looked kind of like one of those, but it was there for like 5 seconds, and then it shifted and was maybe like, 10 degrees from
Yeah.
Earth was it, and then that was it. Then
Maybe
that one
you did see
disappeared
it
too.
then,
So maybe
yeah.
that was,
Yeah.
yeah, just real faint, like, ooh,
Huh.
awesome! I seen something.
Woo.
Yay. Yeah, cool. Oh yeah, man. All right, well, should we wrap this thing up?
I think so.
Cool. Anything else you want to throw in here? Shout outs? Anything going on coming up? You dropping any hot albums this year? You
Not yet. That's the mix next year. Babe's coming next year, so be on the lookout for that.
cool. And your book release is in next June, and
Well, I don't write books.
cool.
Nah, shout out to you, man. That was a fantastic dinner we had earlier.
Hey,
That
yeah.
venison was
Yeah.
delicious. So,
Well, thanks. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I'm happy to share that with anybody who will embrace it.
good stuff.
So, cool. Well, thank you for coming on, man. This has been fun.
Thanks you. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, that is it. That's the podcast. I hope you all enjoyed. I still haven't listened to it yet, but I hope it was good. I'm sure it was. It sure was fun doing it. So there we go. Anything else? I got some extra space here I need to fill. Put some bombs, missiles, hydraulics, plumbing. Wait, that's battleships and submarines. Jokes. Fill it with a joke. I ain't got no jokes. That's it. That's the podcast, everybody. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed. The music is labels like mine. I don't remember the name of this song. All I've got's like these old, copied CD demo discs that I think they made them way back in the day, but they don't say any of the track names or nothing, and I don't remember them all. But hopefully I reached out to Ryan. Hopefully he'll get it to me. I'll put it in the show notes or something. And that's it. I got to get out of here. My kids are playing with Play-Doh in the other room, so there's probably a Play-Doh explosion all over the place that I need to go deal with. So thank you all.